TGIF. Hope you all have had a wonderful week. I know you are ready for the weekend to begin. So, welcome to the Just Ask Char advice channel. We will be getting started very soon. So get comfortable, get ready, and relax. We sincerely thank you all for your support. This channel is sponsored by you, the subscribers. When you want to hear another perspective for yourself or a friend, then just send an email for advice to JustAskChar@gmail.com. All right, we are ready to get this show started. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. There will always be a perspective or some advice that someone can benefit from and use. Now, here's your host of the show, Char Willie.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome and TGIF, everyone. How are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? What's popping? And all of those good things. Hope you are doing well. And here it is, another Friday. Whoop, whoop. Hope you are healthy, strong, and ready to move forward. Now, today will be a different type of show. You're only going to get maybe 2 of these shows per year. That's all. Because I am a planner and I like to be about a subject, a topic. Um, and I don't know. Let's see how tonight goes. It'll be more rambling than it will be probably people asking for advice. Because the way I look at it, if no one sends the letter in, then more than likely they're not going to ask in the chat room. Now, yeah, that may be rough to say, but that's what I think may happen. We'll see. Maybe I should have a little more faith, right? Yeah, that's what it is. I should have more faith. That's what I'm gonna say. But I don't know. This week has been interesting. Um, Chicago has been, I don't know, the temperatures drop. We've been having some rain, and it's been a little noisy in the news. That's, I guess, the disturbing part. We still have some carjackings going on, and one this morning that I heard about. I don't know. It really upset me because it was too close to home. It was approximately, I would say, 4 to 5 blocks away from where President Obama has a home in Hyde Park, and it was approximately 10 footsteps away from where I would get my hair done. Yeah. I mean, right around the corner. If you leave the shop and just count to 10, you'd be right there. There's the parking lot. And it happened right in that parking lot. It was a carjacking. A 17 and 18-year-old male decided to try to take this veteran's vehicle. They taken his keys. He yelled at them. They hit him, and the blow was deadly. And I think probably because he fell, maybe the way he fell, but it was deadly, and it was really sad because this guy was going shopping, just minding his own business, and they did that to a 70-some-year-old guy for a vehicle. And they already had one of the guys had a charge for vehicle theft anyway. And I'm like, wow, interesting. But we hear about these things quite often. Other than that, let's see what we got going on. Oh, it was time to renew my driver's license. Yeah. And they said, nope, you cannot renew it online. And I didn't appreciate that. I'm like, why not? A lot of people can. So I figured what they wanted to do was they wanted me to take the vision test since I'm now wearing eyeglasses. I figured that might have been what it was. But the conspiracy therapist that I am, and I am one, I have no problem. I'm proud of it. They wanted to take a new picture. Okay, that's fine. Nothing wrong with taking a new picture. You get a new photo of ID, then what? You take a new picture, right? Okay. However, they wanted me to remove my eyeglasses. Let's see. Person wear eyeglasses. They use the eyeglasses to drive, and you want them to remove the eyeglasses? Hmm. So the conspiracy that I came up with is they're trying to get pictures of everyone without eyeglasses. Oh, yeah, they want your full face because what's going to happen for this real ID that's for 2023? I think it was May 3rd. They are expecting some people probably not going to get it because they don't travel, but you have to get it in order to travel domestically. So I guess they figured those who may not want to travel, we got to get you captured some kind of way. So I'm thinking that's what they're doing the next 2 years. Get everyone new picture without their glasses so you can get their full face and you'll have that in your database. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Now, what they're going to do with it, I don't have the answer, but I think I'm onto something. Agree, disagree, I'm all right with that too. But, excuse me. But without further ado, let's welcome our Canadian Jamaican, everyone. You know what to do. Let's give her a warm welcome. Classic Ruby, everyone.
Go down there, why not go down there? Go down there, why not go down there? Go down there, why not go down there? Go down there. Stay down there, girl. Stay down there.
Yes, yes. Y'all listen. I started my workout super late today. So I literally was hopping into the shower at like 10:15, right? But after like my playlist finished playing, right? There's some, reggaeton coming on and I was winding up myself and I'm like, nope, gotta save that. I know what's coming when the show starts. Yeah, go down there. Yeah. I, mm. Love it. Char, how is your
Yeah.
birthday weekend going so far?
It's interesting. It is very interesting. I have all these thoughts, and a lot of them going to come out tonight.
Hmm.
And I don't know where it's going to take me. I really don't.
Should we be like a little bit scared, but mostly excited about this?
Probably.
All
Probably
right.
both.
All
Probably
right.
both. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely love that. Okay, Shar. I'm trying to read. You know the banner ITYNFR. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It is actually a YouTube personality. He's a young man. He used to do music. He no longer does music, but he now does well, he's been doing like some acting and different skits, and they're cool. They're really cool.
Oh, okay, girl. I never would have guessed that was someone's like username. I was just like, is it like TGIF, but like in a different yesterday? No, for reals. Like I was trying to figure out what was going on. Okay, YouTuber, got it. I'm good.
Yeah. It's funny, but I what I do when I go in this chat room, I just call him AT.
Yeah.
His real name is Amari. So I guess you can call
Mm,
him Amari, but a lot of time I just write AT. Hey AT.
yeah.
He Yeah, he's a young man. He a lot of talent. And I'm gonna show you something. I don't think he minds. Let's see. I can
People don't
definitely
mind free promo. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't think he would mind. I'm not trying to do anything here. Let's see. Share screen, audio, and where's the window? There he is. All right. Let's see. We'll do this one. So he is playing the character of the son and the mama in this one.
Oh.
It is some music, so I'm gonna skip through it because I don't know if it's copywritten or not, but I'm
Mm.
gonna skip through it. I tell you that much. I don't want no problems.
Mm-mm.
And let me show you right here. He plays all these characters as well. Sad, angry, happy, and himself.
Okay.
It's really hilarious. It's really hilarious.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, let me find him.
Kind of reminds me of Trey Melvin because he does similar things. I found him because of Watermelon Drea. He created that character after Raven was talking about how if you see a resume with Watermelon Drea on it, you're not hiring them, right? So he
Okay.
came out with Watermelon Drea, the character, like, how dare you judge me? My name is Watermelon Drea, and you're like, damn, okay.
Mm.
But he does the same thing. He does the skits and like he's all the different characters and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. I,
Okay. Quarantine with a black mom.
What happened?
So that's what you're gonna be doing this whole time?
I mean, what else is there to do?
Read a book, be productive, learn something new.
I could do two of those things, but I mean, I got plenty of time. Like, it ain't like we going anywhere.
Well, you sitting here not doing anything don't sit right with my spirit.
I don't know what to say to that.
mm-hmm. Oh, he lucky
I'll
he
be
was
back.
done.
Where you going?
All I gotta just drop this mixer off the Stony.
No, you not. You go out there and you catch that virus, you cannot come back here. You're not gonna be having me coughing about to die.
Mom, it's literally just an exchange. I hand this to him and he just take it. I ain't even gotta get out the car.
And make sure you stay there too.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. Change your mind real quick. Now, just because you stand in the house doesn't mean you got to eat up everything.
This is my first time eating today.
You lied because I heard you in here 10 minutes ago. You washed your hands?
I'm using a fork.
It don't matter. Your hand hovering over the cake and the coronavirus particles gonna fall on it.
I don't have the virus.
I don't know about you. You probably left in the middle of the night.
I should have.
What you said?
Nothing.
Keep playing with me. I'm gonna put you out.
I would love that.
But wash your hands.
Why are you doing this?
Because your stuff needs to be sanitized every time you touch it. The news said that the state is going on a 14-day lockdown, so wherever you at currently, you need to stay there. So you need to stay in your room until all this is over.
Until this is over? You said me to stay in my room for 14 days?
That's what the news said, so you need to do it.
Why do you listen to everything that's on TV?
Because if I don't, we both gonna be dead. You obviously don't watch it, so somebody has to.
What am I supposed to do about food? Taking a shower, brushing my teeth.
I'm gonna bring you a bucket of water, a case of water, and some crackers. You can figure out the rest. I want this pandemic to be over.
This can't be life right now.
It is until further notice. Do not leave this room.
Mm. Mm.
If we listen to each other.
And you better not leave that room until she changes her mind, neither. So you better just sit there and wait for your bucket.
Okay. He gets nothing, but I just love the faces, and his other characters. They're hilarious too.
You know what? I'm surprised that so the doesn't sit well with my spirit part. See, I thought that was like a West Indian parent thing, right? So I think it's hilarious that y'all have to deal with that foolishness too, right? Don't sit well with your spirit. I don't care. But you can't say I don't care or like scrunch up your face or make any kind of negative reaction. You're just hoping if you stay very silent and let them just say it, that maybe they'll turn around and go away. You know? Like it's like, oh God, you and the spirit thing. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and my mama will come back. Yeah, that's right, Mama Rubes. I'm putting you out on blast again. Uh-huh. Not just Raymond on Wednesday. Putting you on blast again. My mom will come back. Because she would leave because she's frustrated that I'm not giving her a response or something. So then she'd come back and open the door and they're like, oh God. Right? Because now I have to listen to it. And it's not ending anytime soon. So yeah. I was like, oh, you have to deal with that. Oh, so it's a universal Black mama thing. So when I have children, I will become that. Got it. Okay.
Oh,
Just checking. It must be in our DNA somewhere.
Yeah, so that's who he is, and I've been following him. Let me see. I think this is year 3. Yeah,
Oh.
year 3 now, and I think he's about. I know he's. I think that last year he turned 21. I think because he got a tattoo. Because I always go in the chat room. I said, "What you doing?" I said, "Be careful out there." And he said, "I'm still going out." I'm like, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't help himself. So
Of course not.
the
Just
kids
listen.
do what the kids do.
Right, I was gonna say their generation. What are they called? Like a Generation Z. Whoever's younger than millennials, they don't business about anything. They were throwing raves while people were dying in mass. Right, there's like no like availability in hospital beds and stuff. They're going to raves and beach parties and whatever. They don't care. No, not at all. They think they're invincible. They're still at that age where they honestly think they're invincible. Like there's nothing can hurt them. Oh, that's other people. Other people catch corona, not me. Right. That age. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll probably go to this community tab tomorrow and ask him what he got planned
Mm.
and see what he's
Hey.
gonna do.
That's
Yeah.
awesome though. So
Mhm.
so you're both born on the same day.
Yeah,
Right? Okay.
yeah. It
Okay.
was so funny because I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I I think it was posted in Discord, and I went to look, and it just happened to be the young man's birthday. I said, "Wow." I said, "Today is my birthday." He said, "Oh, okay. Happy birthday." I checked out his channel and been following him ever since.
Oh, that is awesome. I want to meet someone randomly that I'd never met anyone who had my birthday. Now, check out how crazy this is. So, at my mom's, well, it used to be a church. She's not at that church. Long story. Anyway, but at that church, there was the co-pastor, the one that was co-pastoring with her, has a sister. And then, well, actually has two sisters, and then all the sisters have a bunch of children. And in that family, between those two sisters, there's like three of them. Three or four of those kids are born on August 2nd. And I'm like, no one's born on August 2nd. Like, I'm always alone. How do you have so many in your family? Right? Like, I can barely find people like on August 1st. But yeah, no. So I don't know. I guess like the way that the parents are, I guess if you were to count back 9 months, whatever month that is, genetically it makes them very randy. Let's put it that way, right? So they keep conceiving kids in that month, and then 9 months later, keep
Right.
popping out babies. I don't know.
I think that's what it is.
Must be. Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a donation, so we know what happens when we get a donation. We have to make Sheed sing. So hit it, Sheed.
Dude, I hear the R&B like song playing behind it, and then it's like da da, right with the music. You can hear it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now, as far as what's been on my mind, because things are different now. This is 2021. We've been dealing with this pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and also just life has just changed for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The way you work, the way you travel, the way you shop, all kind of things that just have changed, and I don't know, I just pay attention to what's going on. And also, when I was talking earlier about having my driver's license renewed,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute. Why are we removing eyeglasses to take a picture? What's going on here? Why would you do that? So that's why I'm like, okay, something is up with that.
Mm-hmm.
S- So that's on my mind. That's one thing. Let's see what else. It's just a whole lot. Um, on my way downtown, I'm looking at a lot of the businesses that are closed. And this is July. So if they were going to open, since they had opened the city up at least what 75% or so,
Mm.
if they were going to be open, they would have been open. And a lot of those doors are closed. And that's shocking. You look at the city that you've lived in for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and those places that were there a year and a half ago are not there.
Mm.
You know what they were. It's just glass now, or
Mm-hmm.
sign up there. Call this number for leasing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, Also got some news that one of the companies that I work for downtown, they're not even letting employees come back this year, which means it's possible the job may be remote from now on. You never know.
Oh.
Um, so it's just a lot going on. That's why I say I'm looking, and it's a lot to process.
Mm. People don't
It,
want to go back to work. They don't. Like people who've been working remote from home all this time,
hmm
nope, they're not trying at all to have to do the grind again. You sit in the traffic for hours. By the time you see your kids at night, you're miserable and exhausted. And but no one's trying to go back to work like that. And people are. I can't remember. You know what? In fact, I'll pull it up for Saturday's show. but whatever generation, if it's millennial, Generation Z, maybe both. But yeah, they're just refusing to go back to work. Their companies are open. They're like, nah, I'm good. I would rather be unemployed. Like, that's where people are actually standing at this point. I would rather just try to run my own business. I would rather just make a little bit of money just to barely make ends meet via YouTube. Like, that's where people are at right now, because having that massive break off of work, they realize like the grind's not worth it. This sucks. It sucks. I'm going through all this and I'm a customer service rep and I make $18 an hour. What the hell am I doing? Like, that's where they're at.
Well, think about the people with children and what they had to go through. That was a challenge as well. So
yeah,
it's just so much. But let me welcome Vonda before I continue on. Welcome, Vonda. How are you?
hey girl, hey.
Hey, Shar. Hey, Ruby. And happy
Welcome.
birthday, Shar, or happy born Nate.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Birthday to yeah. Just wait till tomorrow. I got some stuff. Go ahead.
I appreciate you having me.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure.
What are you thinking about what I mentioned so far?
Well, a lot of it is true about what you're saying. I actually have a friend who works for the government, Social Security, and it's in her mind. She thinks that there's going to be another shutdown. She works in like a really big building, and it takes up 2 floors in this building. And of course, in this building, there are other buildings. So when the, pandemic hit and they shut everything down, that whole building closed down. So all of these employees are at home, working remotely. They haven't been given a clue, an idea, an iota of when they're going to be coming back. There hasn't been like, first round of people will be coming back in November. They haven't even mentioned it. And just, from that, she's saying, you know what, they're going to do another shutdown. They're going to do another shutdown. What they're doing is they're letting people spend their little stimulus. Got you thinking, everybody done got vaccinated, or enough people got vaccinated. Now I can go out and, be out in the world and spend a little bit of money. And then they're going to shut everybody back down. All of a sudden, the cases are going to quadruple. They're going to have a super strain, of it. And it's going to get a little crazy. And I totally believe that. I completely believe that.
Yep.
I think so as well. This is actually on my list of things to talk about. And I just clicked over and just happened to see this one that just came through. So I just said, well, let me just go ahead and share this now. The amount of fraud is just ridiculous. I am so tired of getting these emails daily, 2 or 3 times a day. I get some lie about something. It used to be a certain time, like the first of the month they will send it. I'm like, okay, I get it. They're trying, that's the normal time that you would get something from your Patreon. Now it doesn't even matter. They just trying. This is fraudulent. If you don't know, if you look at this at the end, it's T-Mobile. So why would PayPal have a T-Mobile address? That's number one. This PayPal, you hover over it, nothing. Dear customer, it doesn't have my name. That's the other thing. And then, of course, they tell you, hey, log in right here. Let me see if any, yeah, that's all. And then they got the nerve to say 5 working days. Get out of here.
You know what? My paranoia has really helped me in these scenarios, because I have always been so paranoid of putting any of my real information on the internet that none of my email addresses are registered to my name, or like none, right? But obviously all my legal stuff is, right? Banks and whatever. So when they send an email, they're like, hey, Classic, and you're like, no, this is not from,
I don't know you.
right? This ain't from no bank. But the scary thing is when they hack real databases, because when they get into somewhere like, say, TD or whatever you guys banking institutions are, I don't even know. I'm terrible. TD or whatever. Because I know y'all have TD, so that's why I said it. When they get in, and they did do it sometime last year, they got into a real company. They sent a worm, and that worm sent out So now it's coming from I don't think it was TD. So, but like it's coming from the real company email address because they got in, right? But you had to then pay attention to when you click on the link and you go there, what is the website you went to? Because unless it's the right website, so and so.com, canadatrust.com, or whatever.com, walmart.com, unless it's the right website, disregard the email. And they were putting out that message because a lot of big companies, big corporations got hacked last year, and the email addresses, you couldn't just dismiss it at that point because it was coming from the real place. So you're like,
wow.
Okay. And then sometimes they were even using the good hustle saying our databases have been hacked. Well, yeah, they have by you, right? But the databases have been hacked. Please click here to and change your passwords and whatnot. And so that's how they were getting people's password information, because then people were putting in their old password, right? Which is their current password, and then their new password, right? Thinking they're doing something. And meanwhile, that just gave the hacker the access to all of your financial information, access on how to get into your bank or your PayPal, whatever, transfer all your money out of it, right? So a lot of dangerous stuff happened. It's because people are bored. They don't have anything else to do. They have no way of making an income. They have no way of feeding their kids. They have no way of paying their bills. They have no way of buying their medication. And you know what? Desperate people and bored people, that makes for a bad combination.
That is so true. And that's another reason why I wanted to show it, because, a lot of people like, well, how could people be so stupid? I'm like, every day life can bring you something new. You can be going through something, and that will be the day. It doesn't have to be today. It could be 2 years and 3 days from now. And that particular day, you are vulnerable because you're in some situation.
And that's very true. If you're someone who monitors your accounts and something pops through, like I will get occasionally, Char, I will get some mess like that'll say, oh, your account has been suspended, or we need you. And you want to know what I do? I ignore the shit. I completely ignore it. I don't go into it. I ignore it, because at the end of the day, I already know that, and I'll check my account just to make sure, I didn't buy something for $10,000 or something like that, but I will ignore it, because one time I actually put in all my information, and the minute I did it, I was like, Bonda, why did you do that? You have no idea who that was from. Then I had to go back in. I had to call PayPal. And I had to totally change my password, because I was like so paranoid, because I do a lot of stuff through PayPal. I was doing PayPal before PayPal was PayPal. I was doing Amazon Prime before it became Amazon Prime. So my information is on stuff. So when I get a little email that'll come through like, oh, your account's been suspended, and I'd be like, you know what? So what? If it's been suspended, and I will ignore it, because to me, I always think it's a ruse just for them to, get my information. And then a lot of times when you do sign up for these sites, they'll tell you, we'll never ask you for this information. This will be the one and only time you give this. And if anybody, even like with my Yahoo account, I have it connected to 2 devices. So if I'm on my laptop, or if I'm on my phone, it'll say, somebody's trying to log into your email, and I'm like, oh, okay. And sometimes what they'll do, because I don't always remember my password, they'll send me a code on my phone. So everything is connected. So my phone is like my wallet. I'm not willy-nilly with my phone. My phone has always been locked from the very first cell phone I had. I've always locked the phone. Because I have information on there. I have substantial information on my phone. So I'm going to lock my phone. If I lose my phone, there's nothing you can do with it but look at it, because it's nice and red and it's pretty. That's all you can do.
Well, let me go ahead and make she sing. Got a donation. Thank you so much, Vonda. And here's Sheed. Lovely, just lovely.
Right? Damn.
Sheed up here one day to do an encore. He did that so well. I really like that.
Right?
Okay.
Boys got pipes.
Okay. Now, for this email, let me go to it on my side. Where is my, oh, over there. Okay, so it's from a Gmail. So that's a warning right there. Then it just says your account is on hold. Now, I don't know, why would Netflix account be on hold? For what reason?
Yeah.
Well, they claim because of current billing information, but no, I doubt if they would do that. Now, I don't have a Netflix account. I'm trying to get a hookup. So that's a warning right there. Like, this is false because I don't have one. And then they go with the customer. Hi, customer.
I'd be like, yeah, you don't know me. You don't know me.
Right. Yeah, no. And actually, you know what? So they will. Because the way that Netflix works, right, is it's automatic monthly billing, right? So if they try to remove the money from your account, I think it's twice, and there's no money there, then your account kind of is suspended. And they do notify you, but they know your name in full. They know it. The name that you registered, that is the name that they respond to. They tell you your account number, right? They say, hey, dear Classic Ruby, but like my real name, not the Classic Ruby one. Right, and your account number ending in da 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 and whatever, and we've tried to take payment, and then they'll list your payment information, right? So they'll list the credit card number, whatever that you have, like, with all stars out except for the last 4 digits, right? So you can confirm it's the right card, and this is where we've been trying to remove money from. It's not working. Your account has been placed, basically suspended or placed on hold, whatever wording they used, and please click here so you can fix that. Right? So they give you enough information in the email for you to be sure that they know something about your account, right? Like,
yeah, for you to pay attention, like, hey.
And even still with that, I actually don't feel comfortable doing anything from that email because I'm like, I call. I'm like, you know what? And sometimes it takes an act of God to get through with them damn calls. But you know what? I'm going to call and I'm just going to wait, and talk to somebody before I send you guys any information. But most of the times when I get crap like that, I just ignore it because I'm like, I've heard all kind of stuff. Vonda, your account is this. Vonda, you're this and that. I'm like, really? And nothing has changed, but it does make me go back and check stuff. I mean, in 1 year, in a matter of like 6 months, I had a breach on my bank account 3 times. And I bank with Bank of America. So when they see something fishy, what they do is they shut your shit down. They just shut it down. You go to use your card and it's declined. You're like, what? I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
And you call them and they go, oh no, we saw some suspicious stuff. And so I'm like, okay, good. And they had to send me a card 3 times in the matter of 6 months. They just sent me out a new card. And I welcome that but what they won't do is they won't tell you who the merchant was. They won't tell you who the merchant was because I'm like, what shady, establishment did I go and swipe my card in and their, machine, didn't have encrypted information. It kept my information.
Now that's the only thing I have a problem with because one time I did get a little bit of information, but not enough. But it was enough for me to figure out where it came from. It was many moons ago, about 17, 18 years ago. I went to Fannie Mae's? No, Miss Fields Cookies. And I went to go get a cookie made for my coworker for a birthday. And that's where it happened. The person, one of the Latino women, took my number and decided to try to get her son some mountain bikes at Sears and some other stuff. And the interesting thing, because when I forgot how I found out, but anyway, I'm on the phone with the company. I think it might have been Chase, and it was like $500 some. And she says, "Oh, look like they made another one. Yeah, we got some pending purchases too. So I'll stop this. Don't worry about it, and you don't have to worry about it. Let me see. I see Sears here, the mountain bikes, and then this here, and then when I asked." That's when she realized, oh, I'm saying too much.
Exactly. I bought somebody a computer in Washington, but I'm like, Washington? Washington State? I've not even been there. But they won't tell you, they will not tell you the merchant or anything, you know. So it's good that, you know, they're able to, I guess it hits certain algorithms for them, you know, and it goes through and they're like, hey, wait a minute, that looks suspicious. We're just gonna, you know, cut your card, you know, and I'm fine with that, because the last thing I want to do is go into my account and see somebody has moved like, you know, $5,000 out, and I'm like, what the hell? You know, that it's hard to recover for some mess like that. Don't be taking my money, you know.
Oh yeah. You know what? But so I've been dealing with fraudulent things happening with my bank since way before they actually would care and just automatically stop it and give you your money back and stuff. So a couple things. Number one, guys, is that the algorithm does not take into account normal purchases in your normal city. When I say normal purchases, I mean, for example, I didn't used to check my bank statements either mailed or online ever. I just didn't. It's just whatever. If as long as I was able to continue making purchases that I had tabulated in my head, I should
You
be
were
able to
fine.
make. I was
Yeah.
fine. And it wasn't until something else happened to my account that, you know, we ended up going in, and then I looked and I realized AMC. So AMC is like the movie theater place, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I realized that purchase at AMC had been making payments on my account like twice a week for like 6 months.
Oh.
But it was at a theater that wasn't that far from me, right? And it wasn't like thousands of dollars. It's like, you know, something reasonable. It was like the movie ticket cost, and then like, you know, the concession stand. And so they didn't flag that, because why would they? Right? Like if you just go to a new restaurant, not going to flag your card because you used a new restaurant down the block from you, right? So that they would consider that normal. So that's why you got to keep on top of like your bank statements and stuff and actually really look at them. But Canada, I think, must be different than America as far as their policies, because, or at least they were when last time I had to do a whole investigation thing. So, you know, I mean, someone took a fair amount of money. Now, luckily, I only had so much overdraft and only had so much money in the bank. So it's not like they could take tens of thousands. But, you know, they took a fair amount of money, and I'm freaking out here. And this was before they would just automatically care. Right? You had to be able to prove that you really didn't spend that money. And so they were looking at the purchases, and they said, okay, yeah, so we have this much spent here, this much spent here. And I'm like, I don't even know what is that? And they're like, oh, it's a merchant in Quebec City, Quebec. And I'm like, I live in Ontario. I'm nowhere near Quebec. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that you're saying that at 6:00 p.m., I made a purchase in Mississauga, Ontario, and then at 6:15, I made a $500 purchase in Quebec City, Quebec. It is literally impossible to get. Like, I mean, this was like, that would be like an hour or two flight, right? Like, it's not close. It would be, how did I get from here to here? And like, she looked at my transactions enough to see, okay, yeah, like, oh, here it says you were on vacation in Mexico at the same time you were buying coffee in Mississauga, Ontario. I know, right? So at that point, I was able to prove I really didn't make the purchases, and so they did the investigation. And afterwards, like the people who take care of that called me, and they basically said it came from an ATM, and that they can pretty much tell me exactly what store the ATM was in. That ATM is being removed, as kind of we spoke at that point. The reason why they wouldn't tell you if it's mid-investigation is because it's mid-investigation. They don't want you to go and tip off the store. Then the store removes that ATM. If they're part of it, right, then they go and remove the card reader off of it, and then boom, right? So they don't want anyone to, it's almost like a police investigation. They don't want someone to go tip someone off.
Yeah.
I wanted to go put somebody out, and they were like, ma'am, no, we can't tell you that, because I'm like, look.
Yeah, they tell you we'll handle it. Let me show this so I can stop sharing this. Let me point it out. It says it's regarding, so that's a flag too for people. Amazon alert. Information security. What the hell is that? We've looked unusual activity on your account. That's not the proper way to speak, so that's a flag right there. Comma, capital W. So we start a new sentence, but we got a comma right there. We hold your new orders and lock your account on Tuesday, July 13th, 2021, EDT. So where's the time? Yeah, EDT, but where's the time? And then also, this supposed to be Amazon email address, that weird email address. So that's a warning for you.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon support at livesupport.com. And that's who is to. So it's from this weird one. It's to Amazon support at livesupport.com, but it's blind copy to me. That's
Mhm.
another flag. That's a flag within a flag. And then
Mhm.
they give you a PDF. Never click on that. You have no reason to.
Right.
Amazon doesn't communicate any kind of way that way. So always keep those things in mind. Now, this was the 13th. And I guess they said, well, you ignored us. So we're going to come back to 14th and see and see if you like this one. I didn't like this one either. Another one regarding now is e-statement. We placed on hold account. Now is to cs at amazon.admin.ch. Another weird too, but
Mhm.
they blind copy me.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
anything that's weird like that, whatever it is, call the company directly. A lot of
Eh,
times they do
Yep.
like to know if something's going on, but you just spam it. Once if you
mhm.
contact the company, give it a spam because they do keep track to see what's happening. It can help them on their end. So just to let
True.
you guys know.
But like, let's be all the way 100, okay? They don't like sit there and for the millions of customers who have a problem today, write out an individualized email to you to let you know something. It's a form email. It's already been written by someone else. They plug in your relevant information and send. I mean, from the valid company, right? Before they ever see that form email, someone has gone through it with a fine tooth comb to make sure that the grammar, the spelling, punctuation, everything's on point. So if the grammar doesn't make sense, if they're missing key words that only English using speakers would use, like connecting words, like your account has been suspended, or the words are in the wrong order, or whatever, like you should not be questioning whether that might be from the company. It's 1,000% not, right? Because an English speaking person wrote the form letter and they wouldn't make that kind of mistake. This is coming from another country. They've written it out in their language. They put it into Google Translate, which might have missed some of the words, or
Yeah.
they've said it themselves. But again, if English is like their fifth language and they're not super proficient in it, they're going to miss words like your and to and whatever because they don't have them in their language. So that's another key indicator.
Yes.
Hmm.
And
Crazy.
so that's, something I've been seeing going on. Um, I know I had an issue on my credit card last year. Um, so I'm just looking at ever since the coronavirus. That's what I'm looking at ever since then.
Hmm.
Um, Also, let me see, what did I mention? I mentioned working remotely. Um, there's layoffs, there's less hours, um, companies closing. But what I find interesting is I don't see a lot of that talked about on YouTube channels in my recommendations or, just your regular page. I don't
Hmm.
see those type of topics. All I see
Hmm.
is she won't give you none, something wrong with her. She need to
Hmm.
give you some. She's not worth giving you any. And I'm like, okay, so no one's affected, no one's interested in talking about, some of the things that affecting them. Because this is the way I look at it. Every content creator, they may not have been affected by it. Maybe their only source of income is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. I'll accept that. But you don't have a family member, parent, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, nephew, even child, that the school closed and some things happened, uh, a company went out of business, anything just to give that information. I haven't seen it. just very few channels, very few. I mean, you can count them on one hand that that comes up in your recommendation, and
Mhm.
that really saddens me. That really
Mhm.
does, because I know there's a lot of everyone is six figures. I get that, but I really think some of these six-figure people
Petty.
have to have lost their income. They have had to lost their job. Their job
Mhm.
did something. They merged. They um, closed for a little while. Something, and I'm like, this is not talked about. And this is real thing. This is real life out here, and it's not over, as you mentioned, Vonda. I don't have any information on the shutdown, the next one, but I'm sensing another one.
See?
And just like when you mentioned a large building, yeah, this company held a good 1,500 employees, and no one's been in that building for almost 2 years or
Yeah,
about to be 2 years. So something going on. They're not going back to that building. S-
exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and there's not enough stimulus money that's going to pay every company's bills for 2 years. It's just not going to happen. So things have to change. They're going to do things differently. They're going to have you to work the job of two or three people. Um, maybe they lost customers, which means now they're going to lose employees.
Mhm.
Maybe they're going to um, give some of their work away to other places. Excuse me, whatever that may be, whether it be another country or just share work with a partnering company. And, you know, that's what kind of makes me sad that not a lot of people have talked about it. And I look at my YouTube feed all the time and I just don't see a lot of it. I don't see anyone planning for the future, except for maybe a passport to go get some vagina. But other than that,
Ooh.
I'm not seeing any plans of anything else. And I'm like,
Mhm.
um, why is that? Why am I seeing that? And it makes me really sad because in this in your feed you get more male content creators than you do women,
Mhm.
and men are builders, and men are what they are. They're men. They create, and if I don't see them creating, I kind of step back and I'm looking like, okay, what's going on now? I have my little joke that they don't make them like they used to, but they still have testicles, so they're still men, but a lot of them are not, really in that masculine role, and that makes me sad. That really makes me a little sad there. It really does. Makes me a little sad. I don't know what to make of it, you
I
know.
do. I know exactly what to make of it, Shar. I call it half and half. Okay,
Half and
half
half.
half is because people don't care, and half is because people value attention and validation above all else. So they understand, even the people who do care understand that the majority don't, that are here in these streets. The majority are
Mm.
here for their echo chamber. The majority are here to be validated and told that they are right. And of course they're right. And let me show you more evidence of why you're right. Right. So therefore, they're going to provide all that information so that way people come pouring into their channel, so that way they get their own validation and attention for being so smart and so this and so insightful and so deep and so real, because
Mm.
it's so super deep to say the same thing that 50 or 60 or 150 channels have said this week alone, and has been saying for 3 years. Totally deep and insightful. This time when you said it was different, right? So I mean,
Mm.
that's what it comes down to, is half validation seeking and half recognizing that no, the majority are not here for that. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care. And at the end of the day, if it happens to them, sure, they're not going to blame these fishers, they're not going to blame the companies. They're not going to be frustrated by it. They're not going to look for socio-political reasons it might have happened. No, they're just going to find a way to blame the opposite sex, right? Well, if you didn't have to bring these women out to all these expensive things just to be able to hit on Tinder dates, then it just never would have happened to me. You see, women actually cost you even more than you think they would, right? Like, I mean, that's what happens, right? No one goes the deep way. They're always going this foolishness way. It's ridiculous.
You know, with that being said, the same thing talked about over and over again. You know, that's fine. You have a right to, say what you want. That's fine. But what I'm looking at is how does that benefit you and those around you? Now, I can't help I'm a goal type of person. They
Mm-hmm.
small goals, they don't have to be anything large, but I still try to make some goals and try to reach them. And, you know, I'll be a new age on Sunday. So I'm like, I got some new goals. I got to
Mhm.
make some new goals. So now this has nothing to do on the personal level, but it's something I'm still going to do. I'm going to notate those channels that are in my YouTube feed,
Mm-hmm.
a good 40 of them. And I'm going to notate where they are in 2021. I'm going to notate where they were 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 year from now, I'm going to notate where they are. And I'm going to see if they grew any as a person,
Mm-hmm.
as a, whatever. I'm not, sure who would come up, but as a person, as a family, as an organization, whatever it is, I'm going to see if there's any improvement.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to look for. And if I don't find any, I'm going to be really sad about that because, I don't have any control over um, an individual person channel or anything like that.
Good
But
luck.
it will, more likely make me pretty sad because, let's just mention as we're talking about like the opposite sex, that's talked about in the space quite often. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of statistics and all of that. And I like to know if I take these statistics to a bank, will I be able to get a loan? If I sit down with the banker and tell them the amount of abortions that women have, is that going to, shave any points off of a mortgage, or am I going to get a higher position when I go for an interview? I wonder if the employer is going to give me any more of an increase in salary with any of these statistics. I really would like to know that.
You know what? Not the way that anyone in these streets is using it. No. But
Hmm.
could you use it? Well, yeah, if you were using it intelligently. Most people don't. Most people don't even think deeply about it and can't think deeply or elaborate, right? But like if so if you're a woman, for example, right, and so you're talking about the disparities between men and women and how women aren't as respected in the workforce and 79 cents on the dollar and whatever, can you just go spit those statistics at people? No. But could you maybe use that information like how sometimes we do with race when we get our house appraised, right? Because that happened in the news recently. Get my house appraised. That doesn't sound right. I looked up this neighborhood and whatever, and
Mhm.
I know what's in here, and this isn't right, right? So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do something a little smart, right? I'm gonna go and put white people's pictures up, take any evidence that black people live here down, and let's see what my house is appraised at. Let's see what I can sell it for, right? And it's like you made 100% more, right, from doing that. So can you use the information? I mean, you could, but no one's thinking about it like that. That's not why they're even bringing it up. They're just bringing it up so they can be like, see, you're wrong. No accountability for me. It's all you. Your fault. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad. That's why I promise you. That's it. They don't want to use it. No solutions. Mm-mm.
I think, to me, what it has turned into, and this is since the pandemic, everything has turned into this huge, entertainment platform. And it comes in different forms. Everybody has their different kinks with what they're going to be entertained by.
Hmm.
And what I've seen, over the last year is a lot of YouTubers, make their content more quote unquote entertainment worthy. Whether they use, salacious titles and whatnot, or if the content is just full of, chaotic drama, which, people who have been sitting at home, they're like, yeah, I need something to watch. I need something to do. And then on top of that, it's interactive. So if you had a pretty shitty day and you want to come online and you want to cuss a whole chat room full of people out and just talk a whole bunch of mess, you have that power to do so and absolutely face no consequences, for it, because you're under an avatar, that looks like James Brown. You may even have a wrench, in that chat, and you can just, pretty much do whatever you want and say whatever you want. And some people, that's exhilarating, because maybe in their everyday life, they don't get to say much and they can't talk shit to nobody.
And no one's listening. And that's also part of what, makes me a little sad, because as far as the entertainment, yeah, you're right. That's what it's called. And how much entertainment do us Black folks need dealing with the things that we are dealing with? And that's, again, another reason it makes me sad. I mean, there's so much entertainment. I mean, 24/7, a little bit much, but now you can find what's considered entertainment, whatever that is, 24/7, which makes your brain, it's not getting fed properly. There's no balance. And that's another thing that I don't know if a lot of these people are responsible for children. Um, but that's something that would concern me, if they're responsible for children. Because, you say what you want, but a lot of stuff that goes in, it's there. It's going to be used later. You look at a lot of foolishness, and that's all you consume, that you're going to act out on that eventually, whether it's come out your mouth or your actions. It will happen. And it goes back to the sadness that I have. Now, there's a difference between following and supporting or subscribing. Now, when you subscribe or support, you can watch, have your opinion, your commentary, turn it off, and move on in life. But when you follow, that's when it gets a little sticky, because you're not using your own mind. And even with my channel, I like for you to think. I'll give you some advice, but I want you to think for yourself as well, because you do have options. I always try to get people to think. But if you are a follower, the key word follow, that means whatever another person says, you're going to go right along with it. Right along with it. And I've made a joke. There's some channels out there that whatever a person says, they're right there to eat it all up. And I'm like, I'm just waiting for that channel to decide to say that they are now a channel that is a gay channel. And I want to see those followers say, yeah, that's right. We gay too. I'm just waiting. I want to see if they go that far. Really.
It's funny because you kind of see that happening with some channels. I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the channels you see, they started out one way and then all of a sudden they morph. I'm not talking about when you have growth. Yeah, you everyone should have growth, with the depth of the content that you present. But when I say change, it was like, yesterday you were talking about hair, and now today, you're talking about, relationships, which is a really big one. you know, and it's like, okay, how do we get from there to here? You know, where was that leap? It's like this gradual thing. And it seems like once they kind of make that change into what they know or feel that people want to hear, they go, that's where they pick up and they totally change. And if you're someone that's watched them for a while, you'd be like, that's not even where are they coming with this? That's not even how they even started out, you know. And not saying people don't have a right to change, you know, what they choose to, you know, cover, the content they choose to cover, you know. But you know what? A lot of times, you know, with those people, you can see the disingenuousness in it, you know, or it's just like, that you don't seem like you really care about that. This is, you know, this is a job, you know, basically this is a job, you know, for you, and you're making this, you know, and I understand that, and that's what you do. But a lot of people, like you say, you have the followers. Those followers don't necessarily use discernment. You know, they get attached to a message. They start to hear that message and it actually resonates with them. You know, may it be low vibrational, high vibrational, but they're like, if they're in a low place and someone's talking about some low stuff, they're like, yeah. And that's where they want to stay. And they marinate, and, you know, you can create a tremendous following off of a whole bunch of negative stuff.
Yeah. But, you know, we have enough of that. Now, that's one thing I know most people can agree with. We do have enough of the negativity. We have so much of it. And whatever direction you decide to go in when it comes down to content, again, where's the growth? I mean, is that the goal? Now that I am looking a little bit at myself as far as with goals, yeah, but when I go back to just men in general, at least the men that I've been around and known in my life, they are about their business. And because of that, when I see it is not adding up to what I see along the line in the YouTube street, it's confusing. I'm like, they don't make them like they used to. They just don't.
Nope. I mean, even to go back 5 years, just 5 years. Now, people were complaining even 5 years ago, like, hey, when I do real content that talks about growth, about, you know, productivity on an individual level, right? Those are my lower viewed content, and they would complain about that, but they still made that content. And people still, I'll say to a much larger extent, used to watch. You know, it's to the point where, like, one of the big content creators who has been growing a lot, especially since the pandemic happened, right? He is someone who got himself a PhD basically for free. He got himself into scholarships for free. You know, got himself into the financially high value man category, at least on a financial level, over 100,000 at 27 years old, and he's sharing that information, and makes specific videos on that, right? Here's the individual growth thing. Hey guys, this is how we're going to power through and become better as a group, as society, as individuals, as men, right? And, you know, he's made several videos and even done a live stream about it, calling people out, to the point where he made a list of 5 things he hates about Red Pill, on a live stream, and it's one of his lower viewed live streams. So guess what he did? He clipped out him talking about all of this and posted that today, again, to be like, what is wrong with you? All you want to do is sit there, be angry. You want to attack any woman just for being a woman, even if she's turning around saying, hey guys, I totally agree with everything you said. You shut up. You know, we got our eye on you. We know you're fake, or just stupid things like that. You know, you're going to attack anyone just for being a woman. So it's just all hate. You won't watch anything about self-growth. You want to take zero accountability. Zero. Right? It's like, dude, I'm offering you solutions and you want no part of solutions. And then you complain when women go, no, Red Pill's all about hating women and dating. You go, no, it's not. It's about individual growth. But where's that content? And why isn't anyone watching the content from the very few people who make it? Like, okay.
Like, show me a little bit of that. I haven't seen any of that. But it's like, okay, then the content is not for me. So maybe that's why I'm not seeing it. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, even MCR, like he said in that video, right? Because I was watching it today, and he said it's soul sucking for me to do the content where I'm reviewing videos that my people send me, because he's mostly like, he reviews videos, right? He reviews things. He says it's soul sucking to him because in his microcosm, in his space, women like this don't exist. Issues like this don't exist. He chooses not to surround himself with that. So he's got great women and great people and productive, motivated men around him and whatever, right? His group of people and the people he chooses to surround himself with, the ones he chooses to notice in the atmosphere, are not the bottom 5%, right? And for him to say that, I'm so glad he said that, actually, because it's something that a lot of us say, but we're not big and no one listens to us. No one cares what we have to say when we say it, right? But like, dude, if all you wake up in the morning thinking black women ain't shit or black men ain't shit, and that's all you got on your mind, then yeah, in the atmosphere, that's all you're going to notice. So you can confirm your own personal bias. Our brains work that way.
Mhm.
You don't want to try to find anything productive out there. You don't want to take any accountability for why it is that the only people you find ain't shit, right? Like, you're part of that, right? The one thing that all of those relationships have in connection is you. So what did you do wrong? No one wants accountability. It's so much easier to just look outside, blame everyone else, hate everyone else, right? It's you. You're the problem. If you just fix yourself, everything in the world would be fine. Okay, sure.
Mm.
Don't change you, but yeah, sure. Make lots of if the women turned around tomorrow and woke up and were perfect, a bunch of these people still would only have dysfunctional relationships at best and would not have anything that they want, because it's not just women's fault, right? And vice versa, ladies. The men woke up tomorrow and were perfect. Same issue, right? Like, why as a group do we not want to take accountability and take, I don't know, direction and advice from people who have made it to what we want to make it to, who have accomplished what we're trying to accomplish successfully, right? Like, we don't want that. We just want the drama. We just want the BS. That's it.
Mm.
Because
Why?
everybody knows it all. Everybody knows it all. No, there's nothing else that they could learn because everybody knows it all. And if somebody knows something that you don't know, it's not that they know something that you don't know. They're wrong, or they're full of it. There's a lot of ego, on these platforms. A lot of ego, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think that, everyone should always agree with everything that I say. I know a lot of things I say, people they just damn don't agree with it. And I'm just like, and I'm okay with that. But it's all in how you choose to, present that. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, oh, Vonda, hey, I don't agree with that. This is how I feel about it. Or, you're stupid and you're dumb for thinking that. How could you think like that? There are so many different ways you could spin that. There's positive ways. I don't have a problem with someone thinking differently. To me, I find it fascinating because it's like, why do you think like that? Where does that come from? A lot of our experiences are similar, but they're not exact. We walk in different shoes. I don't walk in your shoes and you don't walk in mine. So I cannot dictate to you, what you are and who you are. Only you can present that to me.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, it's like, it's to the point now, right, where you have men, right? I'm sure y'all will remember this. You have men will tell women that they're old, disingenuous hags for saying that those women, the women said that they can't personally tell always if a man's wearing a condom or not. What? Like, that's the extent that this echo chamber, invalidating everyone else's opinions thing has come to, right?
Yeah.
That you don't have a vajayjay. You could never possibly know what it is to have one. But when three women who have given you no reason to think that they're disingenuous, that they're liars, that they're trying to pull a fast one, no reason for you to think that at all in the years you have interacted with some of them, right? because it disagrees with your opinion, they must be disingenuous liars. Let
Yeah,
me
they're
go call
liars.
someone who confirms my bias and my opinion so I can say I called that person, and you know what, based on what that person said, y'all are a bunch of liars and I'm right. Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't mind the disagreement or whatever, but as far as the conversation, that's always what's important to me. Like when it came down to wearing a condom, well, I can only give my opinion from my experience. I can ask
Mhm.
some other ladies.
Right.
That's all I got. But other than that, I can't give you 100%, but I can tell you my experience. And from my experience, what I'm telling you, my experience is different from what you're saying. Now, as far as
Mhm.
what you do with that, I don't know. If you cash it in at a bank, get a lower mortgage rate, if you can do that, hey, go ahead. But other than that, I don't see the reason to argue about opinion on something.
But the whole fact of the
Mhm.
matter is that it was a very, what I thought was a genuine conversation, with a man speaking, from his point of view, and then the women speaking from their point of view. But then to be told by a man, your point of view is a lie because I know the point of view of another woman who says different. And it's like that's so elementary. It's like aren't we not a little bit deeper than that? That we have to think that we all have to think alike. You know?
Right. Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not for certain what was going on that particular day.
Mhm. I I still, that's gonna go down like in history. This year, people are gonna remember that conversation probably because they have not heard the V word that many times in any discussion ever on the internet ever. So,
Or a
Yeah,
man speaking on the validity on what another woman's vagina feels and what it doesn't feel. It's like, wait a minute,
personally,
sir. Wait a minute. Do you
right,
do you have a vagina? It to me it was offensive. I was like, wait a minute. I'm not trying to tell you what, your penis does, but don't be telling me what a vagina does. You can give me the biology behind it, but unless you truly have one, I mean, you can't speak to another woman's experience. I can't even speak to another woman's experience with her vagina.
right.
Yeah,
You
but you
go
guys
tell
always
me.
speak to what a man's penis does all the time.
greetings.
Not what it feels
Greetings.
though. Hey,
Well, is that
Yeah,
what
they
BGS.
yeah they
she
do.
said?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
correction, sir.
you should
Here
wait
you go. You
you
starting
should
at the gate early.
you should you can wear a condom because there's no difference between a condom and raw sex. And I heard that come out of your mouth, Vonda.
What?
I heard it when you said it. Yeah, you said
Wait a
that.
minute. Excuse me. What I
You
said?
did.
I said what?
And I had to tell you what had you ever put on a glove? Remember I was telling you have you ever put on a glove, a latex glove and wash dishes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the thing is, we men get told this all the time. So the thing is that it's okay to preach at men. But what I came up here to say is about the red pill, right? And this is one
Mhm.
of my experience with the red pill, because most women, you kind of go in the comment section, kind of what guys said, but really you don't go deep enough into it because it can be offensive, and I don't blame you for not going into it because it's not a female space. Okay, people say that most of the guys in the red pill are losers. They're stuck in their basement. The average guy or myself, I got 38,000 stuff. You know what the average person and myself, you know what their educational attainment actually is? Bachelors are
Masters.
bachelors are better. Okay,
Mhm.
I know Char can verify this. Okay, because she's been on my women's channel, right? Me and Char probably know 20 PhDs or people with PhD level, either medical doctors or PhDs or whatnot, that will never come out and show their face, right?
Yeah, they
I
don't.
got seven guys with PhDs that actually show their face, show their CVs and everything. These are the people that actually come out. Okay, most of my guys are either uh, uh, programmers with a CIS degree, engineers, or some of that type. And then you got various people. I got guys that work for airlines. I like three guys may work for regular jobs. They got masters in history, English, and whatnot. They're masters. They have all. Most of the guys that actually are in this space, in particular in the red pill space, are actually educated. They make in most of my guys. I got truckers. I remember one time I just did this a minute ago, right? I was on a space and I got a whole bunch of truckers, right? And
Mhm.
we're talking about octanes, and
Mhm.
and I called guys that are truckers working class, even though they make a lot of money. And so I asked them. I said, "Okay, how many of you guys?" And there was like 12 truckers that were in the chat. I said, "How many of you guys make north of $90,000 a year?" All of them did. I said, "What's the top?" Top was 150,000. Okay. I said, "How many guys actually get dated by chicks with a bachelor's or better?" Zero. I just wanted to prove a point. But this is indicative, and Trier can tell you, this is indicative of the people that are in the red pill space. So
Here's
a
the
guy,
issue though, BGS, because
uh-huh.
actually, hold on, let me say, because it's really my point, right? So,
Hmm.
and anyone here could tell you that actually, even in a panel a few months ago, I was one of the very few people sticking up for red pill as an ideology, because I still support red pill as an
Right.
ideology,
Yeah.
right? So my issue is not red pill. My issue is that though it used to be the loud minority
Hmm.
that were only about dating and the girls, and they lost their way as far as their focus, right? And then of course people who were in red pill rage, but that was used to be the loudest minority. So when women were paying attention to that, you could sit there and you could go through this week or the last couple weeks alone of all everyone's content and prove, oh no, they only talked about women one day this week. It's just that's the one thing you chose to focus on. The
Hmm.
problem is that now it's actually starting to switch. The dynamic in the last 6 years is starting to switch, whereas now the majority is dating in relationships and about women, and there's
Why do you
less
think
interest on
why
accountability
why do
and
you
self
think
growth.
there is? Because that is where those are on the ground issues. Okay, these are not some things that are just online. I got so many guys that that message me, that talk to me, that have issues with their women on the ground, and not just one of them. Okay, not just one of them. When I counsel these guys one on one, they got degrees, some of them got kids, some have been married, they got baby mamas, they got a whole bunch of things. So basically this is the reason these guys are come here, not because they can't get a date, is because they have issues with the women they're already have been in relations with, or are in relations with. The biggest, I can tell you this, and I've said this to Kevin, right? Remember the educated lame debates back 5 years ago?
Hmm.
What happened to those guys?
They're still here. So
Yeah,
are
but
the
what happened?
incels.
No, they're not incels. They're
No, I
called
said
high.
I said so are the incels,
We
as in
never
the incels are also still here.
we really never had incels in the black manosphere. Incels is a white manosphere thing.
I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with
The-
you, because there was a whole group of incels that certain groups of red pill guys were fighting with pretty actively 4 years ago. I remember those.
the incel, and where the name came from is from the white manosphere. Okay,
Yeah.
it was from the white manosphere. Women just started calling these guys incels, right? And all the guys that I talked to were not incels. Mean involuntarily celibate. They can't
Mhm.
catch a woman, right? Most of the
Mhm.
guys that I talked to when they complained about women and stuff like in dating and kind of stuff were not incels. They had gone on dates. Okay,
Right. They're a
had
separate
gone.
group.
They're no, they're gone on dates. There might be incels that are black men, but it's a tiny minority. A
Well, I'm
lot of
just
them.
saying that they're still here, right? Just
No,
like
no,
the
no.
educated lames are still
I'm
here, Brigitte and Ray
educated.
Rays are still
No,
here. Like, they're still
educated.
here.
I'm getting ready to tell you. What do
Hmm.
they call them now? High value men. Because Kevin came in and he worked with the majority of those guys. The reason you don't hear about them is because now they're high value men. That's what they call them now. These are guys
Right.
that made north of $100,000. They had bachelors or better. They were in STEM degrees, and those are the guys that were kind of socially awkward. They're not socially
Yeah.
awkward anymore. They're gone.
Right.
Then what the hell are they so angry about then? Damn. I mean, it sounds like they're doing a lot better, then what are they so
You
angry about? And why?
you have new guys coming in all the time because the
Right.
space is growing.
That's what I was going to say. The high value men are not angry, because just like MTR, they've changed their microcosm, right? And they
Yeah,
had the ability to do so.
yeah,
So, and I think, but that's where MTR, who, I mean, most of his content, right? Like, I mean, most of the people over there are red pill. And so what he was
yeah.
basically saying is that they're not, when people are sitting there and doing these things, it's not a fair representation of what red pill content and red pill ideology would tell you. You should not do 100% of your focus on this. There has to be some of that self-focus, self-accountability, self-growth, so that way you can change your own dynamics and your own circumstances. You're never going to be able to change that ancient chick over there, but you can change yourself.
Change yourself.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. The biggest thing, and this is where the rubber's meeting roll, because you have a lot of a different generation coming up, like 5 or 6 years ago, Generation Z was 19 years and under, right?
Mhm.
In other words, they were coming into college or coming out of high school. These Zs are actually in the dating market, right? And they have a different outlook about dating and mating, and this is where the friction is starting to come in. Now, the old stuff, that the old battles about being race law and kind of stuff, is Generation X and Boomers for the most part. Okay, you still see some of that friction, because now all these people are in their 40s and 50s. Okay, and they're still having issues, but those are old issues. Generation Zs are not having those issues. Okay, they're having a different kind of issues, and they're having a lot of pressure being put on them about dating, especially dating inside their race, and that's where all the friction is coming in.
Okay, which is fair. I think part of the issue is, again, though, and a lot of the younger ones that are coming in on both sides, like it doesn't matter which gender, are coming in, and they're coming in. It's almost like, I don't think I really ever saw the original gender war in all of its glory. By the time I came, it was already trickling out a little bit. So now they've reinvigorated that. Whereas there was a period of time, right, but there was a period of time where there was a lot of focus on self and accountability. And we were getting somewhere. I think we were getting somewhere. We were getting to solutions-based responses and answers, and people.
Different generation, different problems. Okay, the generational problems now are not the same, because a lot of the Z's, and I've had them when I've actually done videos on them, have them message me. Right, they tell them I'm spot on, because I got a son that doesn't date black. Okay, I've got his friends don't date black. Okay, I got. Remember, I talked to guys. I said, guys in their 40s and 50s. I said, okay, you got a son. Who does he date? And what kind of problems that cause? So now you have women coming into this space, because guess what? They're not getting attention. They have now is more female angst. In fact, I've seen the female so-called. I think what you having is almost like a female red pill on the other side, with colorism and that kind of stuff on the other side, because those content creators are growing. Like, I've seen at least just in the last 2 weeks, because I've been doing the content, I've seen at least six or seven dark-skinned activists. Man, they have like 300,000 subs or more.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that equivalent to red pill, though, because, again, from an ideological perspective, right? Red pill does talk about the say red flags and stuff about dating, and being able to identify, good versus bad choices as far as potential mates and whatnot. But there's a lot of focus on, again, self-growth, self-accountability. What kind of energy are you putting out there? What kind of image are you putting out there, and what's the outcome of that? If you don't like the outcomes, you're getting changed the image, right? So there's a lot more of that in red pill, and I don't really think that when we're talking necessarily about the majority of, at least what I've seen, with some of the female angst channels, there's not a lot of accountability, and there's not even variation, though. So when for example, when I speak and I'll mention something as being negative colorism that a light-skinned girl is experiencing from dark-skinned girls, there's no accountability there. Where, that probably is exactly what you're seeing, or what that's happening. Yeah, that absolutely does happen, and whatever. Nope. There's no accountability there, not even when we're talking about cross-gender, but within the group. So, to me, that's not really, there's no introspection there. There's no accountability there. There's no anything. It's just looking for another way to blame everyone else.
But the thing is that okay, if you have been, like, if you start off in red pill, you get to what they call the rage, right? The angst, because you have issues with your dating life, you have with your relationship with women and whatever, right? You're seeing the same angst now over on the female side. Same kind of angst, same kind of anxiousness, because guess what? Now the rubber's hitting the road. That's like, why do you think Kevin's channel's blowing up? Because these women need to figure it out. They need to figure it out fast. Otherwise, they're going to run out of chairs.
Wait, you say the women need to figure out, and what is it that the women need to figure out?
In other words, this system is going to go through its changes. And Ruby can tell you, because she's in Canada and she's got a man that's close to this system, going to go through changes. And and these women and the government is not going to be able to give you some help. You're going to have to go back to revitalize some of these old ways that your mama didn't tell you. You're going to have to figure it out fast, because this system is going to change rapidly in the next 5 years. It's already started. And basically they haven't even pulled the safety net yet. Okay, yeah, they still propping you up with unemployment and with eviction moratoriums. Okay, what happens when that stuff gets yanked? And then you see competition in earnest, because 90% of the stuff that I'm sitting on, that I could literally do 10 shows a day just on this kind of stuff. Why do you think they're actually basically decriminalizing prostitution? What do you think that's for? I'm asking Ms. Vonda. She's asking, what do you think that's for?
Because of what's going on with the economy. And
Well, give me a straight answer. Why do you think they're decriminalizing what's going on in the economy? Why do you think they're decriminalizing prostitution? Best guess.
Well, what's my best guess?
They ain't got no jobs for women. If a woman can't work a job, what does she have to depend on? If she ain't got no man, no job.
But isn't it true that women are actually choosing not to go back to work in droves? Like they literally don't want to go back to the grind?
Because what's propping them up, Ruby? And when does it end?
What are you talking about propping up? That's what I'm not getting. Where it's being propped up?
It's called federal unemployment. Okay, federal unemployment.
So only women are getting unemployment?
I didn't say only women are getting unemployment. You putting words in my mouth. Okay, but everybody's getting
the connotation and the way that you're using is that once it's yanked, then the women are going to be in trouble.
Basically, men can survive on the street. They always have. Can women and children?
So the only way
this breed of man
to survive is with the legalized prostitution that's going to be.
That's not what I said. That's what I said. I said if women.
I'm asking a question.
No, it didn't sound like it. We'll put it in the form of a question.
It is a question. There you go.
No. Make it sound like a question. Okay?
Question mark. There you go.
Okay. All right. Let's put it this way. And me and Char, we would used to talk about this all the time, because she partially went through it. Okay, about automation and female jobs, service jobs disappearing over time, right? Mm-hmm. And this is we talked about this years ago, while it was really happening, before it really became news. Mm-hmm. Huh?
That was seasonal, and you were saying to try to get something permanent.
Mm-hmm. Or try to move up because automation was gonna, and you saw this firsthand, how automation was just slowly but surely stripping away these particular jobs where women were actually working, especially in offices. Okay, and that's just the the like the online calls, the cold call, and that kind of stuff. Now most of the time you get you have a robot first. In fact, they had to stop it because they were making so many robocalls. The automated dialer will actually call people, and you get a automated service, and then they will connect you to an operator instead of you having a whole bunch of people doing it. Okay, that's just one. Law offices. We're talking about cashiers. We're talking about other different kinds of things, talking about people working in medical billing and stuff like that. All these jobs are slowly but surely going to start getting stripped away. Okay, and these are the bulk of where women actually work. We're not even just talking about private sector. I was talking about government, because they're starting to strip this stuff away too, as automation started to wind in. All COVID did was actually get people off work. And then for these companies to survive, they had to actually put in and test out automation. So all these systems are actually being tested right now. So some jobs will come back and some jobs won't. I was just looking at how many, about 10, 15 different articles talking about she sessions that's going on during COVID. And what I was saying is about these that women are being propped up. It's not just women, but all women, all people, okay, being propped up, and people aren't refusing to go back to work is because they were getting that extra $1,200 a month from the feds that Biden had actually issued, okay, and then that's on top of what you're getting from the state. So a lot of people were getting $2,000, $2,400. Like they're actually making more being off than they're actually doing working. So what do? Smart people said, I'm not going back to work yet, especially when your kid's not in school. Okay, which is one of the main reasons they actually did it, because you had to keep your kids out of school. Your largest child care system in the United States is the public school system. Them kids are going to be back in school in August.
Yeah.
You're going to be going back to work. September, all that stuff ends because they just dumped $15 trillion on you. They're not going to dump another $15 trillion to keep this system alive. You will go back to work. The red states have already started it. They've already stripped the federal unemployment. So you see a lot of people have gone back to have had to go back to work, females included. I just got a newspaper article from one of my people in my think tank about New York City. They said prostitution is off the chain in New York City. It's ridiculous because they decriminalize it. They said it's off the chain there. There's a reason for this. And it's not the men that are pushing it. It's actually the women actually pushing this stuff. The men aren't pushing this.
Well, I think that's very unfortunate. For me, I can say personally, for me, I have not been unemployed since I was 17 years old. I've been very fortunate to have a job. And you are right and very correct with regards to the automation. A job that I previously did by hand became an automated job. So what I had to do is I had to make myself more valuable. And with that comes either education or certification. I don't know if, that's something that women are foreseeing, but it was something that I foresaw. And I knew that I needed to make myself more valuable, get my education, become licensed, to be able to become a value to my job.
Most women ain't seeing this.
Well, this is what I'm saying, that I'm sad that I don't see people talking about any of these things, because I'm seeing it, as Vonda says, she's seeing it, and a lot of people see it. It's just they're not talking about it, just kind of enjoying the entertainment on YouTube at this time.
Well, and YouTube does a good job of suppressing this stuff from going out. Okay, trust they've been suppressing my channel for years. Okay, and those a lot of stories when I put them out like that don't get notifications. Okay, I personally, everybody that knows my channel, I've been putting this up for the last 6 years. It's not new. It's not new. I've been saying this for the last 6 years. What I'm saying is that there's and I can tell you this. I told Kevin when he first started doing it, I said, Kevin, they're coming to you. He said, why? I said, because they're gonna need to find a chair. I said, what do you mean? I said, they're gonna need to find a chair. I said, all them dudes that they didn't want before, they're educated lames, because they didn't have enough swag. Trust and believe, they're gonna be rushing over there, because you're gonna have to find the best chair that you can find because of what's coming. And that's when he didn't even have 100,000 subs in. I said, get ready, man. I said, they're coming. And I said, ride the wave, because they have to come in, especially black women. They have to come and learn, because they haven't learned.
Well, I will say this, though, from what I gather and understand, the majority of women are still not looking for the majority of men, as in the educated, the average educated lame as he is right now. They're looking for the top 10%. And so they're basically saying, okay, well, maybe you might be socially awkward and I might not be attracted to you, whatever, but you know what? Your money will make you worth it. So as long as you have that money and you continue. Someone just posted this in their community tab the other day, and it was an interaction between a guy and his girlfriend, right? And so she texted him and said, hey, I got the job, making $70K, yay me. And he's like, okay, great. This is a perfect time for me to quit my job, right? And she's like, what? And he was like, yeah, no, I hate my job. You know, I'm so depressed. I just want a month to, you know, start going to therapy, get back on my feet and whatever. She's like, I ain't supporting no man. You're supposed to lose 100K now a year because you're depressed. Where does this depression come from all of a sudden? Like, oh hell no. And he's like, what? So you saying we're done? And she's like, I ain't supporting no man. Hell yeah, we're done. And he's like, okay, I just wanted to see what you would say. I didn't quit my job. I actually started therapy a few months ago for my depression. Get your stuff, get the hell out of my house. So, right? Yeah, no, but my point is simply is that I don't think that, unfortunately, and I think it's actually a problem, I don't think that the people who didn't have much vision as far as what they actually want and what they should want, but what they actually need in a spouse have so much as wisened up.
Oh, really? Why do you think that, Ruby?
Because from what I can tell in the last 6 years of being here, the ultimate thing they're looking for hasn't changed, right? So now they're willing to consider the businessman who's going to end up making $1 million, and not just the basketball player. But what they're not willing, but what they're not willing, hold on, but what they're not, but here's the problem. That's still the top 10% of all men. Like, it's not the other 90% of men. They're still not willing. Oh, see, there you go. Top 5% of all men. So they're still not willing to consider 95% of men.
Yes, they
so
are.
they're listen.
Thing is, you get stuff from the women. I get stuff from the guys. You ever heard of you know what hey big head is?
Is that the joke where the woman or guy just tests out if the person gonna respond to them?
Yeah, when a woman actually tests out, say she's digging through her crates and she's trying to find out if she still has a connection with some old boyfriend. This is called the hey big head call, or the hey big head text. Okay, and I said that like a couple years ago. I said, okay, coming up when there's a crisis, all you guys are gonna start getting hey big heads, and guess what? All the guys blew me off. And guess what I'm hearing now? Every day. Hey, BGS, guess what happened? I said, what happened, man? I got 5 hey big head texts just yesterday. I said, really?
They should be happy then.
No, the thing is, they know what's up. I said they would be happy if there wasn't a crisis going on. The thing is that, you know, if I'll give you an example, right?
Do you not people expect to react in a crisis? I mean, it's like either you're going to take it or leave it. It's like it happens.
But that's not like better. But see, my whole thing is that, but BGS, hold on, but that's not actually better than what I'm saying, because it's actually literally exactly what I'm saying, which is that good men, right? The average good man is still not the ideal, is still not the thing people are chasing for. Are people willing to, in a crisis, basically use their very best option in the moment? Absolutely. And as soon as the crisis dissipates, guess what? So do they. So that's still not good. That's still not a solution.
Is the crisis going to dissipate?
Yes. Eventually it will.
Tell me why. Give me your best shot.
Why will the crisis dissipate?
What goes down must go up.
Right. We will not stay in a crisis state indefinitely. We are not going to die old people in a state of worldwide pandemic. We're not. Right. And so it doesn't matter if it takes 5 years or 7 years or 10 years. When the crisis dissipates, guess what happens?
Yeah, but that's
so does their reliance on you and your average self, because they really think that they deserve a high value man. So until that mindset changes, until the set of priorities changes, we're not going to see a lot of long-term productive solutions.
What changes the mindset faster than anything else?
In a permanent, long-term way? No, in a permanent way. No, in a permanent and long-term way, not in a temporary.
In a permanent long-term way. Okay. I'll give you an example. After you finish, I'll give you an example. But go ahead, finish your thought. I'll give you the example why.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, in a permanent long-term way, normally people who are well established, like 30 plus or whatever, tend not to really change those things. So it tends to be the environment in which the younger generation is born and raised into that changes that wave.
Not true, but go ahead. Go ahead and finish. Anything else you got?
Okay. Well, no,
wars are actually obvious, right? You go 5 years through a war zone, you're changed permanently. Okay, that's obvious, right? I'll give you another one, right? The Great Depression. It lasted 7 years. Okay, did it permanently change everybody in the country and the way they thought, the way they felt, and how they responded?
It's too far away. What was the last great war that happened for America that changed everyone permanently?
Basically the 9/11 changed the way people thought. Just in the crisis that 5 years changed the way people thought. Okay,
Right, but permanently.
Permanently. I do mean
Yes.
permanently. It doesn't take that long. The iPhone changed the way people dated in 5 years permanently.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when we're saying that, you're right. The way people dated changed permanently.
Yeah.
However, if
Mhm.
people are only going to react a certain way in the middle
Mhm.
of the crisis, and then again, once the
Mhm.
crisis dissipates,
Mhm.
their original broken priorities resurface,
It
and
depends
then
on
you
how
have a
long it
whole
is.
bunch of divorces, you have a whole bunch of people who are cheating, having children, and saying, no, I swear to God, this kid is yours when it's not, and so on and so forth, right? So I mean, that's problematic, right?
You're assuming the guys that the reason that it's different in a crisis, and I was going to give this example to Char about a boat before you interrupted me, right? Okay, if you have a boat and nobody wants to go boating, right? And every day you tell them, hey, get in the boat, let's go boating, right? And then there's a flood.
Mm.
Does that person like boating?
Of course.
You know, of course they don't like boating. They want to get out of. They're going to get out of it. They want to get out of the water. That means they don't like boating, and
Exactly.
you know that,
Water. Yeah.
and you know that. So during a crisis, you ain't talked to that person in 2-3 years. And all of a sudden, there's a crisis. You get a big head. Why aren't you going to be suspicious?
You should be
Yes.
suspicious.
So you think men are that stupid?
No,
It shouldn't
that's
be.
literally why I said it's not a solution. This
It,
is what I said. It
I
didn't
didn't
solve
say.
anything. It
I
didn't
didn't
change
say.
anything.
It's not. I didn't say. It's gonna. Okay. The thing is that, and this is the issue they'll have, and this is why sometimes I get frustrated, is because I've been saying this. I've been warning people about this since 2015, right? I mean, I've been giving you the steps. I've been telling you that these things are going to change permanently, right? And these are the things that have been outlined to change what you do permanently, right? These many jobs will go away permanently. And everybody, when 2016, everybody was laughing. 2017, people are still, hey, it's not that bad. 2018, oh, it's getting a little, I can see it, but I don't think it's getting bad. 2019, okay, this is starting to get rocky. 2020, when COVID hit, and they see they see the automation come in, they see that the robot factories come in, they see the AIs take people's jobs. Do you think that once people go back to work, all this automation is going to just dissipate into thin air?
Mm-mm.
I'm asking, Ruby, do you think it's going to dissipate?
No, obviously not.
Do you think do machines get worse or they get better?
Better. Well, I mean, technically they can get worse and get bugs, but I mean, overall, people just keep developing better machines.
I'll give the example. You have a big screen TV?
Yes.
Okay, how much does it cost reasonably? See, if you had to go out and buy one, how much does it cost?
Now I don't know, like
$300-$400, maybe $5.
probably closer to 5.
Coming $5. Okay, that big screen. I'm looking at mine. My 50-inch big screen TV. Right. When I first saw big screen TVs at Comdex in 1998, guess how much that same TV cost? And it was not even as good a quality as this one.
I don't know, well over 1,000. Well, at least that was my experience.
$50,000.
Wow.
And it wasn't nowhere near the quality of the one that I have sitting here. The one that cost me $384.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this technology gets better. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get worse. Okay, automation is going to get better. It's not going to get worse. The jobs that they've taken, they're not going to give back. Okay. Once they put their stuff in, make the investment, they're not going to give. They're not.
I agree with this point. Yeah, I agree.
So in other words, what you see as a crisis is not just a crisis. Most of this stuff is permanent. The thing is, you've patched up the crisis with $15 trillion, probably more closer to 20 trillion dollars that you charge against the credit card. That's the only reason. Trust and believe. This be freaking chaos if they hadn't patched this up. Shout out to Donald Trump. All he did was accelerate things. He didn't. The stuff was already going to happen. They were trying to roll the stuff out over time so that you wouldn't have this big this big disruption and people tearing up stuff and rioting and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of this, there's writing on there's going to be writing on the wall. People, women are especially sensitive to this because you guys have a better network, right? You know what's getting ready to get automated. You know what jobs are probably going to get ready to go because you guys gossip and that stuff gets passed around. Women know that this is not going to just all of a sudden evaporate. So women are going to have to learn different strategies.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
absolutely. I agree with that.
So if you don't want to, you better put on your apron and you better put on your apron and start being cooperative. Unless you're gonna want to put on some heels and get out there on the block.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, right? And I hear you.
I just the apron. Where's the apron coming from? Is that the only job that's? I mean, if that is the only job available, of course, that's what you're going to do. But like I said before, the women should be, getting that additional certification, that additional education. If they want the better paying jobs. It doesn't. Have to be, and it doesn't have to be, a punishment, either put on this apron or put on these heels. It's
okay. Where are they gonna go? All right, where are they going?
The same place that men are gonna go, who are in the same fields, who are becoming irrelevant.
No, I want to hear Vonda. Vonda says she got the answers. I want to hear Vonda. Where they gonna go?
Vonda did not say she had an answer for everything. Yeah. I have an opinion and I have my way of saying things, and I just said it. You made it just seem like it was just like either put on this apron or put on these heels.
Yeah, it is. It's some for a lot of women, it's going to come down to that.
And really. You know what? You're absolutely correct. I can't say that it's not. For me, all I'm saying is just in my mindset, in the way that I think, I'm not going to think like that. I'm going to think a level above that because I'm not putting on no heels. For nobody just to, do that.
And so, okay, you have, I'm not even gonna count how many women are out there. In other words, so yeah, you can, but the thing is, where do you fit as far as the hierarchy? Are you in the top 30%, 20%, or are you in the bottom 50%? Where are you?
I have no idea where I'm where Vonda's at. I don't even, grade myself when it comes to I'm not a low life.
Give me you don't have to give me the exact amount you make, but give me a range. Give me what do you make above? You have to tell me exactly. Where are you above?
I am very comfortable and I am fine.
That doesn't mean anything.
I don't ask for one for anything.
I didn't say that. I said give me a range so I can tell you what percentile you're in, because being comfortable, you could be comfortable in the middle of nowhere at $5,000 a year. Okay, where are you at?
That's not where I'm at, and and I choose not to say.
Okay. Are you always this difficult? Is this just me?
Why do I have to be difficult? Because I
just said give you a range of what you make. Do you make over $50,000 a year? Can you say that? Okay. Well, if you make over $50,000 a year, you're in the top 30% of all Americans. 42% of all Americans make less than $18,000 a year. The median. The median yearly salary of all Americans, median is $33,000. That's the median. That's from the Social Security Administration. Okay, so if you make in the 50s, then you in your top 30%. What about the 70% of people that are below you? And I'm sure you make more than 50. But I'm saying, what about the 80% of people that are below you? Do they have enough jobs for all these people? Are women that aren't even good at math going to become tech savvy within the next 5 years?
Well, no, but
okay.
Again, and I guess this is the ultimate issue, right? Women who are tech savvy, women who have a relative level of job security are now saying, well, I want a man who earns as much or more than me, has that is in the same field. Since again, we do have more men obviously who are in say technology and whatever, right? But it's still not all men. It's still not even like the
Mhm.
majority of men.
Mhm.
And
I know.
so again, and this is why I said, to me, there's still an innate issue. Whereas again, if women aren't prioritizing and valuing certain things, like for example, a man who might not work in the right industry, so his industry might become irrelevant, right? And so yeah, maybe he only makes 40, 50,000, but he's also the kind of guy who, you know what, he ain't gonna give up, and he's gonna keep on going till if he has to work 3 jobs to make sure y'all are covered, he's that type of guy, a go-getter type of guy like that. Maybe he doesn't have the right education, whatever, but he's that kind of guy. That's a great guy to be with, because he's not gonna sit there and as soon as he gets laid off, he's like, now I don't know what to do. I've been handed everything my whole life, right? Like he's a great kind of guy. Until women can see and prioritize, you know, intangible values and characteristics like that,
Mhm.
I think we're still going to have an issue where a lot of good guys are going to get overlooked or dismissed regardless, or temporarily used until she can find something better, but she's never really fully invested. She's just playing the game.
She'll be stuck, okay? Because how many guys are like that? And as this little meat grinder rinds through jobs, how many guys you gonna find? And then what about all the women below that are looking for the same guy that you might leave him, okay? You might say you got a guy making $60,000-$70,000 a year, right? And you're using him for his money, right? Decide to leave. How long would it take him before you get another woman?
I think most women, though, tend to only leave when they
Now,
already have another option.
Can I answer the question first?
Well, I don't know.
It won't take him very long, because if a guy making 70, he's in the top 20%. Actually, in the top 13%. A guy 75,000, especially a black man, 75,000 or more, he's in the top 12%.
Isn't there a lot of complaints currently by exactly that kind of guy saying that they're being overlooked because they don't make over 100,000 or over 200,000 or blah blah blah?
They were not anymore, but they were.
Until when? The pandemic is what you're saying?
The pandemic, yeah. Got to pay your rent, and you got to pay your rent, and you're out of work. You know, the kid, you know. The government's starting to tighten up on what it's going to give you, because it's out of money, and that job that you have may not be anywhere anymore. So that guy that's making 75 is looking mighty good, because there's a whole lot of guys that aren't making that. Because the thing is, you can do it as long as the government, as long as you have a support system. What happens when the support system leaves? You have to make other arrangements.
It hasn't left yet, so.
Ooh, I beg to differ. It's not what I'm hearing. and I hear a lot. Okay.
I don't know. Well, you're the one who said that people are still getting the unemployment and still have that support system.
Yeah. In other words, you haven't seen the full impact. But the thing is, as it gets closer, the hey big head texts are actually increasing, because I got I got so many guys that are well, my subs are turning down women. Okay.
Like, that's not a
They
good
just turn them down,
though. They should. You know why they should turn down those women? Because
Okay,
those
why?
women if she was about him to begin with, right? Then they would still be together. So she just thinks, he'll take care of me. I can use him for a while till I find what I want.
Of course, that's how come they have to learn how to play the game, because
So the text isn't encouraging. Then it's not a good sign.
No, I'm just saying, what if she's not destitute and she's like, hey, what's going on? Just because there's a crisis, you don't want to talk to her because she just wants your money? Maybe find out what's going on with homegirl. You know, maybe, it's a downtime for both of y'all. Either you're available or you're not.
Really, Vonda? Really?
Either you're available or you're not.
Really, Vonda? Really?
So the only reason why a woman is going to contact you after
3 years and during a crisis,
maybe she's single again, and she remember how good it was when she was with you.
Really, Vonda?
That's
really,
true.
Vonda?
Oh my God! You know what?
Really, Vonda? Really?
You know what, Mr. BGS?
Really, Vonda? Really?
You like to fight with me. You like to fight with me.
I think he does.
Not really.
Vonda, it's kind of like when I told you that sometimes I honestly want to say the opposite thing of whatever you're thinking just to hear your response, because I think your responses are awesome. I think that's what it is. Like,
they're hilarious,
right? Yeah, she's just an endearing person to disagree with. Like, I have to say that.
The thing is, you really can't disagree with her, because she just came out of her mouth. You actually want to just double over and start laughing. That's really what you want to do. Really, Vonda? Really?
I can't help just to be me. That's all I am, is me.
What they say, dying is easy, comedy is hard.
Mhm. We love you, Vonda.
Well,
So
you
we
do
like
it,
when
I
you clutch
do
your
it
pearls.
effortlessly.
Well,
I do it effortlessly.
you do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It
you
comes
do. You do it so
natural.
well.
Yeah.
That's
She's
what
just
makes you
her.
endearing, because it's
Yeah.
just you. Just like
Exactly.
why my grandson comes out of his mouth, he's just him.
Yeah.
even though I actually my favorite line for him, it said, are we skating uphill today? Ice skating uphill today, grandson? No, grandpa. We're not ice skating uphill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And one thing is that if you see this stuff coming, and I've actually said this like 2-3 years ago, this stuff was coming. Okay, stuff is here. I always tell guys, because guys complaining, well, they won't talk to me, they're not coming back in good faith and negotiating, blah blah. I said, just wait, man. So they come back to the table. The thing is, what are you going to say to them when they come back? And are you going to like the circumstances that they come back to you in? I said, be
Right.
careful what
Right.
you wish for. Now that time is here. They're back at the table. They're
And the
asking how.
mens ria. See,
And,
the guilty mind. She's not coming back. Now, okay, I do agree to some extent, Vonda. There is going to be a small minority of people who've been stuck at home staring at the walls, and they're like, "Man, why did I ever let that man go? He's so good." Yes, that
Right.
does
I mean,
happen. No, it does
is
happen.
it wrong to have a regret? Is it
No.
wrong to have a regret?
Right.
I
No,
mean,
I will give you that. It does happen, and I'm sure it happened, but I do think it's a minority. However, right? And no, seriously. But you know what? Here's the thing. Other than that minority of people, right? The women coming back to the table and negotiating in bad faith. Because fine, I'll play the game. I'll be the good girl. I'll pretend I'll be the pick-me, right? But they don't mean it. So then what's the point? Like,
but
you
you know
don't, do you
what?
really
To
want
be-
someone who
but
doesn't
to
really
be
want
honest,
you, but
though,
will play the
Ruby,
game for now?
to be honest, Ruby, some men don't even care. They just want to hear it. And some
They
women
care when
are
it falls
willing,
apart, though. They
and
care
some
when the
and some
divorce
women
comes.
that doesn't mean they're gonna take her though.
and some women are willing to play the part and let them run their course. I mean, it happens, you know.
No, but
I'm just saying.
then you know what? Then stories come up where the guy's like, "Look what
They
she's
know.
doing to me in the divorce. Look what she did to me in the marriage." And you're like, "Bro, you knew she didn't want you, but you thought your money could buy her. It didn't work.
Well, then
Like that doesn't work."
that's the chance you take, especially if you've been listening to us. That's the chance that you take. If you want to do it, go knock yourself off, Chief. You know what's up to. So
You
you
need to
take your
connect on
chance.
intangible levels based on intangible things. That's what
Good
makes
luck.
lasting marriages. Intangibles.
It's actually duty and training is what makes lasting marriages.
Nope.
You know, if you go back and look at when the marriages last, well, Char Willie can tell you, okay, her parents, lasting marriage. Her father was trained to be a husband, her mother was trained to be a wife, and they fit. They put them together. We're agreeable. They fit, and you do your thing, I do my thing, and they do it for 40 years. They just do it. They just do it.
Except at the end of the day, there's a lot of third, fourth, fifth, sixth variables within that.
No, it's not.
Right?
It's
No,
pretty
of course
simple.
there were. So
No,
when, for
no.
example, as a woman,
No.
right? When you can't open your own bank account, when you don't even count as an individual person,
No.
you can't start your own business.
No.
You literally no.
No,
This is
no,
literally
no.
yeah.
No. No. Hold on. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
so we're done. Okay,
No.
sorry. Go ahead.
No. Well, you can say yeah. Because my uncle died last year, right? My aunt and my uncle were married 60 years, 61 years. And the stuff my aunt actually said after he died about what they went through, I said, damn, I didn't know all that went on, blah, 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 and cheating and all that kind of stuff. Duty. She was raised to do that. They were married 60 years. Okay.
But there's more than that again. Other variables. Because you
Okay.
know what? As soon as you changed one of those variables, what happened? Divorce rates started going up. Why did divorce rates start going up? Because you have other options. Because your option is either stay there,
you know?
right? If your option is, listen, well, at least this man pays the bill, so I have to tolerate anything he does because at least he feeds us and keeps a roof over our head, and I can't do that myself. I can't even open a bank account myself. I can't do nothing myself. I am not a person. And on top of that, according to the law, I am literally property. So
Okay.
I can't do anything about this. So I have no choice but to tolerate it. So yeah, if that's the culture that you are now someone new is being born into that, and that's the culture and the knowledge that you are being born into, then yeah, you have duty. I'm not saying that you don't have duty. You were trained
Yeah,
to
you
be a
can't
wife.
deny that didn't exist. That there was
Right.
a time and that it was that way.
Right.
But as women, gain the ability to be able to work and to support themselves, and at some point out earn their men, it was like, how are you gonna put your fist on me, and you're not even supporting the family. I'm not gonna hear it. Then of course she becomes masculine because she's bringing home the money, plus she's telling you what she's not going to damn put up with, and that's a problem. But in my thing is that the man needs to make himself still be valuable to the family, whether the woman can work or not. If both parties are working and they're valuable to the family and they're inputting, how is one over the other?
Right.
So how's that working out as far as the marriage rates in this current environment?
Well, it's not working out because they're obviously not doing it, and obviously,
there's a party. That's not my answer. I have a different answer than Vonda.
Okay. What's your different answer? Okay, because
my answer is it's actually working better. And the reason why I say that is because while the divorce rate is high, when you actually separate it into age categories, what you find is that the millennials, their divorce rate is actually down, and the older generations is actually sky high.
Why you think that is, Ruby? Because guess what the millennials aren't doing?
Oh no. The marriage divorce rate, they're actually comparing. It's not like they're saying, hold on. They're not comparing numbers. They're comparing percentages. Given that this many people got married, how many of those people get divorced within 5 years?
Ruby. Go look at the chart, Ruby.
I literally looked at the statistics.
Okay. Look at the millennial marriage rate compared to percentage.
Yeah, it's down. The marriage rate is down, but the divorce rate is also down.
Of course. Well, Ruby, it's called math, Ruby.
No, it's not, because percentage wise, if you're looking at a percentage, if 50% of marriages fail, it doesn't matter if 5 people get married or 5,000 people get married. If 50% of them fail, then 50% of them will fail.
Yes, it does. In other words, it's common sense. The fewer people that get married, the people that really get married for actually stronger marriages, because there's fewer of them. So fewer of them will actually fail.
Okay, so then therefore, okay, you know what?
The divorce
fine. I agree with you. So given that I agree with you, that's exactly my point. How is it working out for us? It is working out better because we are making decisions to get married to people based on something other than, well, you make money, well, you can cook. Okay, let's just get married and have family and it'll just work out somehow. No, we're actually making decisions based on not just money, but also those intangibles. And that's why our marriage rate is
okay.
That's why our divorce rate is lower.
The divorce rate is going to be lower because there's less marriages.
Right, because we're making better decisions.
The divorce rate is, what's the divorce rate now? It's still what? It's still above 40%, right?
Oh, the overall divorce rate? Yeah, it's still it's pretty much 50%.
So the divorce rate hasn't changed for the most part. It's just have less. Now the overall divorce number has changed because there's less marriages.
No,
right.
Hold on.
I look at this every year.
Number versus percentage are two different things, and this is why I said I'm not talking about numbers. I'm not going to compare the number of millennials getting divorced versus the number of boomers getting divorced, because that would not be a fair assessment, because obviously there are going to be far less millennials getting married. So again, when they're talking about 50% of marriages end in divorce within 5 years, within 10 years, however long it is, they're talking about a percentage of people who, given that they got married, what percentage of those marriages are going to end in divorce? Right. So right now, hold on. So right now, when we talk about marriage, right, in general, we say 50% of marriages end in divorce. What we are saying is that if you get married as a person in general, there's a 50% chance that marriage is going to end in divorce, and a 50% chance you'll be successful. It's 50-50, right? But what I'm saying is that no, actually, when you go deeper into it, there's actually a lower, I think it's around 30% likelihood that if, as a millennial, if you get married, that your marriage will end in divorce. So that's percentage wise. It has nothing to do with the number
Yes, it
of people
does.
being lower. It has to do
Yes,
with the
it does. Yes, it
percentage,
does.
versus
Yes,
proportion.
it does. Yes, it does. The fewer cars you make, the fewer cars will fail. Okay, just like anything else. The fewer things you make of something, the less likelihood that there's going to be a whole bunch of failure because you're making fewer of them.
But it doesn't
The
change the percentage.
basically the overall marriage rate is below 40% and dropping like a stone. And if you look at if we look at it by generation, right? Okay, boomers for the most part, 80% of them were married. They might have gotten divorced, but 85% of them are actually married, right? You go to Generation X, it dropped to 60, right? You go to millennials, man, it's down in the 40s. They projecting the Z's to be down in the 20s.
Right,
Okay,
but
as
in
far as getting
general,
married.
50% of those marriages should all end in divorce. So if only 40% of millennials get married, then 20% of them should also be getting divorced based on the 50% divorce rate, except it's not the case in millennials. So therefore, yes, even though less human beings got married and less human beings got divorced, the percentage, the
Okay,
proportion of
all
divorces
right.
that end in marriage
Uh,
should
uh,
stay about the same. That's what a
it,
statistic is.
if something is not working, right, people do less of it. And that's the problem with marriage. Okay, when there was duty and people were trained for a role and trained to to actually fit together, okay, more people actually engaged in it and stayed married longer, right? Now, you have this so-called marriage 2.0, and most men and have a lot of women are saying, I'm not even going to even engage in it. It's not worth anything.
Hmm.
And this has been a long. In fact, I got a book called it's called what is it? It's not the destruction of marriage, but it's called the downward tilt of marriage. I think something like that. It was actually printed in 1989. It's like over 30 years ago. They were talking about it then, about the downward slope of marriage. They knew that it was coming apart then. And they had so many statistics about out of wedlock births, decline of it's called the decline of marriage. That's what it's called. And it's actually not it was actually a conference where they had all these experts come in with all their numbers and statistics and stuff like that. Had a conference. They had called a book called The Decline of Marriage. And that's like that was it was the conference in 87 and the book was printed in 1989. And this is like over 30 years ago. This is something that's not new to them. So basically, your government, your society has been trying to make adjustments for this for a long time and try to encourage marriage. When it was one time they were damn near trying to pay people to get married. Now they just pretty much given up. Say, it is what it is. Go ahead and let it die. Anyway,
I don't know. It's not
yeah.
that excuse me, not that important to me, but
Yeah, y'all was flipping
okay.
those statistics back and forth, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, well,
Yeah, she's trying to defend her numbers, but the thing is, at the end of the day, no,
I,
it's
I,
headed south, and it's
I
not, and marriage is not working, and and that's the reason people aren't getting married because it's one thing because I actually have to talk to these people. Okay, I have to talk to these guys. 50%, 54% of your guys are not even married anymore. If they're single, don't have any kids, and never been married. 54%. It's the highest number ever in the Black community. 54%.
yeah, everything's down though.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. So really no surprise. There was something about Baltimore test scores, and I didn't get a chance
Oh,
to
yeah,
read
that's
it
horrible.
yet. But I had caught up on watching the show The Wire, and I'm like, well, if that's true, and they're just passing children to
Hmm.
get them to the next grade, then wow, that
Yeah,
is something else.
yeah. That was just going to do a show on that one. 41% of 41% of all Baltimore kids in the school district are less than a 1.0.
oh my
Well,
God.
I want to watch BMT's show to see what he had mentioned because I saw it in my feed,
Yeah.
And also, I'm gonna see if I see anything printed because
Let's yeah. Let me. But actually, there was a station in Baltimore
Mhm.
where they actually did the Yeah, I don't know if you want to share the screen or not, but I can actually show you the
Okay,
story if you want.
sure.
Oh, let me find it, and you can now share the screen. You can actually look at it yourself because it came up like a couple days ago, and I downloaded the video.
Okay, because I know it was a conversation I had one time, and I
Uh-huh.
mentioned that if something happened in, I think it was Atlanta, and some teachers they were going to get charged because they were falsifying test
Oh yeah,
scores.
test scores. Yeah, for the state
And I'm
test
like,
scores. Yeah.
yeah, and I said, I know
Hmm.
this is not a very conventional way of thinking, maybe. I said, but
Hmm.
you have to look at it. You send your children to school for however many hours.
Hmm.
That teacher cannot just make a miracle happen. They just can't
Hmm.
because the child has to go back home to whatever
It's
home it is.
chaos. Yeah, exactly. If there's chaos in
Yeah.
the house, teachers can
Uh,
only do so much. If you
Yeah.
have
yeah.
kids that have behavioral issues and they're, difficult, to teach, they're disrupting the class. The times have changed. The
Yeah.
times have changed.
Yeah. Let me know
Yeah.
when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Anytime you're ready.
City schools reaches an alarming low in student performance.
As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps has learned, nearly half of high school students in Baltimore City this year earned a grade point average below a 1.
Mm.
They take. When Giovanni Patterson ran for Baltimore City Council president last year,
Yet, despite the amount of money they get, we don't see much change.
he ran on a platform that included accountability and education.
Our schools outspend 97% of other major school districts.
And when Project Baltimore showed him how Baltimore City students have been doing this year,
this is terrible.
Here is how he reacted.
This is just further perpetuating the cycle of poverty, blight, despair.
This chart was assembled by Baltimore City Schools and obtained by Project Baltimore. It shows the average GPA for every high school grade in the city, freshman through senior. In the first 3 quarters of this past school year, according to the chart, 41% of all Baltimore City high school students earned below a 1.0 grade point average. In other words, nearly half of the roughly 20,600 public high school students in Baltimore earned less than a D average.
It's heartbreaking. If almost half of our kids are failing, what options do they have after high school? This is really disheartening. It's sad to see this, man.
On the other end of this chart, 21% of city high school students earned a GPA of 3.0 or better, a B average. About half as many who earned below a D. We can also see the district lost more than 700 high school students during the first 3 quarters of this year. In January, City School CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises first sounded the alarm, saying the course failure rate for students had nearly doubled during the COVID shutdowns. A few months later, in May, North Avenue announced students would not be held back for failing classes. This most recent GPA data could show us why North Avenue made that decision. During the second quarter of the 2019-2020 school year, just before COVID hit, 24% of high school students had a GPA below 1. Now it's 41%. City schools declined an interview, but told us in a statement the COVID-19 pandemic created significant disruptions to student learning. Starting this summer and beyond, City Schools is providing students with a variety of opportunities to acquire the unfinished learning they lost.
It's not gone. It's not going anywhere.
City Council President Nick Mosby, who defeated Patterson in the election, is reportedly under investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice concerning campaign finances, business, and tax records. Project Baltimore emailed and called Mosby's office, requesting an interview to discuss these numbers concerning student GPAs. We never heard back.
These people don't care, man. they come from the same environment. You know, Nick Mosby is a product of Baltimore City Schools. Brandon Scott's a product of Baltimore City Schools, and they see what's going on. But then when you bring this to them, they don't care. They don't care at all. You have to raise the standard. Everyone should be speaking out about this.
Project Baltimore reached out to the other school systems in our area requesting their GPA data. We were told by all of them that it's not readily available. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Yeah, if you're just passing students to go to the next grade, it's never going to get better. You can elect whoever you want as school board chairman, mayor, and anything else. You're going to get the same results. And I was looking at that because I mentioned I had watched The Wire, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, and you all just going to pass the students, and then they're going to just concentrate near the end for these tests that were coming up. That's all they were concentrating on. And I'm like, and everybody's cool with this. And I'm like, it's just sad, but that's what they do. They don't take, if you want to do something where you can get some results, you have to fix it. You can't put a patch on it. When this stuff is political, it's just not going to work. And what are they going to do? They're going to just keep declining interviews. Oh, we're going to decline interview. Oh, we'll talk to you later. Oh, if you vote for me, I'm going to get them up. No, you're not. You're just going to pass the student to the next grade until the camera's back in your face for the next year. Same thing over and over again. And then it's sad.
It's very sad.
Yep. You know, in Canada, I mean, unfortunately, we have, not to this extent, but we definitely have always had this issue, regardless of what they keep changing. Right? So kids were getting just passed and passed and passed through grade school, but then they actually had to pass the 8th grade to get into high school. So you had 15 and 16-year-old 8th graders because they didn't learn anything in the 2nd through 5th grade. So they don't know how to read, they don't know how to this, they don't know how to that. Right. And then once they hit 16, they're too old to be in middle school. So then they just push them into high school and let them age out of high school, basically, too. So, you know, when No Child Left Behind is not just passing them through, but if they really have not picked up the basic skills you need to have to pass the 2nd grade, then that means investing money into tutoring or whatever it is to help those kids meet those milestones, which, of course, they're not willing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
never any money.
And pandemic, I could tell you because I had to fill in as teacher for my grandson for like the whole year since the pandemic. And I can tell you, the pandemic made it way worse because talked to Dr. Johnson, who teaches at Cal State Fresno, right? And I talked to Art Newstyle, who teaches at LA at high school, right? Everybody's had this problem. From college all the way down, everybody's had this problem because children are not trained to learn this way, and you just can't all of a sudden snap a finger and expect adults, much less children, actually learn in a different model. It's almost impossible.
That's challenging too. And I'm going to stop for a second and shout out to the donor. I see your government name. I will not put it out there. So you have made Sheed sing. And here goes.
Talented man.
Yeah, I could flood both my channels, or all my channels, with all these stories. It's just some of the stuff is heartbreaking, and it's not gonna get any better because Art was talking about the same thing. Dr. Johnson was talking about the same thing because he's teaching online, teaches 4 classes online. And so a lot of his students, because of the pandemic and because of the displacement as far as people not being able to work, they were actually supporting their families, and they're taking classes over their phone. Okay. They're working and trying to, be in class at the same time. So this is a huge challenge. And then you have, like with my grandson, right? You have to sit there and make sure that he does his work. And you hear the other kids, like, mother and father, because they're separated. Okay. One day dad's working, had to go with mom's, and then the mom's got to work, you got to come back with dead, and equipment gets lost, stuff like that. And sometimes there's nobody actually sitting there, or the kid is sitting there with relatives that are not even interested in them learning, and it's got all this noise around. So it's really a challenging environment. So you're gonna see a lot of this stuff. It's not just Baltimore. It's probably everywhere. Actually, I looked at PG County, Prince George's County, which is one of the richest counties in the black counties in the nation. They have the exact same problem that Baltimore is. Their scores are not that far above what Baltimore is scoring.
Really? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah, the average, in fact, the median score in Maryland is down 20, 30 points for the whole state. So it's not just one city. It's all over.
Wow.
Yeah,
But
that's why I
Baltimore,
said, go ahead.
I was saying Baltimore is particularly bad. In fact, as far as urban centers, the only two that are below them is Milwaukee and Detroit. That's how bad Baltimore is.
Wow. Gee. Well, I'm just hoping, as I mentioned earlier, I'm looking around, I see all that's going on. I know a lot of people are being entertained and not paying attention, but
Mhm.
it's like I said, it saddens me to see everything going on, and a lot of people are not really speaking on it or even talking about how it can change. Get some ideas out there, but more
They're
power
tired.
to them.
They're tired of hearing it. I've been doing this for a year and a half. They're tired of hearing it about COVID and the downturn and automation. They're just tired of hearing it. 'Cause
But you know what though?
I did COVID for like a year and a half, and they're just tired of hearing it.
Which I mean, fine is understandable, but when we're talking about now something that everyone claims that they care about, right, which is the children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just the things that are happening in general with kids in schools. Now you're getting these end results that are proving to you that, hey, yeah, a bunch of these news stories that have been covering it that no one's paying attention to, and saying, no, this is going to have some really bad end results for our kids. Yeah, they're proving out to be true. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many teachers in the last year alone have been recorded using the N-word in all of its glory, feeling no
Mm-hmm.
ways about it, and having no repercussions about that?
Yeah.
Kids who the police have been called on them because a toy gun was
On
they've
camera.
been able to, yeah, right, just like
Oh.
ridiculous things that are happening. Just like
Yeah.
even they're having an issue with getting teachers back into schools,
Mm-hmm.
and in schools that are predominantly black
Mm-hmm.
or minority based. They have no problem getting teachers back into the white schools, right? So I mean, these are all issues that are affecting our children, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we've got to say something. We've got to put a spotlight on this, and we have to prioritize these things more, because for our kids to be basically failing out of high school, as the guy said, like, where are your opportunities? In some of these cases, kids are failing out of school because they can't read
Yeah.
properly. They can't do
Oh yeah.
basic math. So it's
Did,
not like
did,
saying you
did,
need a
did you
degree. I'm just saying you need to be able to have basic skills.
did you look at the proficiency scores of reading for Baltimore?
No, what were they?
13% for fourth graders and 15% for eighth graders.
Wow. Just think about how tragic that is for
Well,
in an
the
English-speaking
whole fact
country.
of the matter is it's something that's been going on for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And they really put a spotlight on it, with the pandemic. But
Mm-hmm.
if you've had any kids that were school age and they had to, go to homeschooling, the
Mm-hmm.
environment to go to school at home is just not the environment. Everything that you said was correct. There are distractions. There's other
Mm-hmm.
stuff going on. You have other people in the house, and the whole house. It's not. It would behoove them to shut it down for the kids so that they could be in school for the 4 hours. But that flat out just does not happen.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
Not all of the parents are able to be at home. I was,
Mm-hmm.
under pandemic for, 30 days, and then I went back to work. So the kids at home, they're, it's, up to, okay, you wake them up, and then they're expected to sit there at class, raise their hand and ask questions and complete the assignments. There is no wonder that it went down. because I'm going to tell you the parents were not on it, you know, and there were no teachers really there to monitor it. And the kids were just able to watch TV and do their own thing.
And the teachers, most of your teachers, I would say at least, and my grandson had a very good teacher. He's actually one of the better teachers, right? And the school he was actually at is one of the better schools in Los Angeles. Right? In fact, it's nationally known. Okay, Bennett Q. It's actually nationally known. And the problem is that she had never taught online before. And a lot of these teachers are actually learning on the fly. Okay, and she was actually teaching 8-year third graders, or trying to schedule third graders assignments like they're in college. And I had to work with her. You know, I had to work with her about simplifying the assignment and making sure that the parent that the parents knew exactly what the children were supposed to be doing every day. And she finally did it. She made a little she used to make a little slide every day about exactly what the assignments were, when they were expected, what were due, and where to actually look for them at. And she actually did that every day. So when the kid booted up his computer in the morning, or his tablet in the morning, and they go exactly to it, and it's all listed exactly what they're supposed to be doing for the day. And then they go to their other tab, and it gives all the links and gives a place where it turns in, because that was the biggest issue. I said, okay, well, we did the assignment. What kind of form do you actually want us to turn this stuff in? And she had to figure all that stuff out. It took about 2 or 3 months, but she figured all this stuff out.
Yeah,
so we have a lot of teachers. I had a lot of teachers that didn't actually know how to actually teach online because they had never done it before. They used to pencil and paper,
and bodies showing up in class.
And bodies showing in class, yeah. So it wasn't just the students, also the teachers.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I thought, well, at least in Canada, what I've noticed is most schools that are I mean, just most schools in general, even like universities and whatever, are, I won't say they're like online based. Obviously, they're teaching in class, but homework and communication with the teacher and all these things were already online. They already had these kind of like online databases. I'm just saying in Canada, right? And so if you, like, to the point where actually parents were getting penalized if they hadn't registered their account to be able to communicate with the teacher and to be able to check on what kind of homework your kid has for the day and whatever, right? So I just assumed, since we were doing it, that, you know, it's a good chance America was doing that.
It was all brand new. And they all got issued their tablets, and they were not going back to school, and they were to sign on, and they were to do their 4 hours. And I guess it was all they could do in a pandemic because everything was shut down. But like I said, you know, the environment at home was not conducive, you know, for the most part, because there's no main leadership. You didn't have a parent standing there, you know, okay, are you listening? Did you hear what she just said? And you're over here checking the other kid, and okay, let me see your assignments. You know, you kind of just think it's on computer, you know, you're going to do it. And, you know, so, and you didn't have to do that before. The teachers used to do that, you know, for the most part.
Yeah. And that's something they required them to be on Zoom. So, you know, so the teacher could actually look at them and make sure that they were looking into the camera,
not realizing kids would just open in a second window and then watch whatever they feel like watching.
But you can see it, but she got good at seeing their eyes. And you know, so they get really crafty at telling when kids are not paying attention.
Yeah, if they're invested, right? If they're not invested, then you're SOL.
That's a different story, yeah.
And then, you know, I'll say a big problem with parents, right? Like, you know, all love to my parents. They did the best that they could, given the fact that they were teen parents who did not have a lot of role modeling in their lives and co-parenting. They made a lot of sacrifices, made a lot of good moves. But I'll say one of the ways that they failed me is I was very, very smart, and they knew I was. And I got away with all kinds of bloody murder in school because I went to a school where everyone's parents were together. So my parents being divorced, like, that's like a calamity. So I could use that excuse for almost anything. Oh, well, my homework's at my mom's house. My homework's at my dad's house. I would ride that out. And then they would let me sit in the library and do the book report all day to finish the book report, and then only dock me like 1% per day. So I'd still end up with like a 90% because I was really smart. The problem was I would go home now, right? My parents would go, do you have any homework? I would say no. Or I'd say I did it on the bus. I did it in class, right? And they never actually took the time to invest themselves into making sure whether or not any of that was true.
Let me see.
Right, exactly. And then even when they figured out that this was my game, and they had me have to sign something from each teacher saying if I had homework and what it is and whatever, then I would just say I did it and just show them some pieces of paper, and they went, okay, good. And so because they weren't invested in me doing my homework, I wasn't invested in me doing my homework. And as a result, I actually never learned it in grade school or high school how to apply myself. I never learned how to learn things I didn't already basically automatically understand.
Oh, you sound like my daughter.
Yeah, I didn't know how because I'd never done homework. I didn't understand what it meant.
Girl, my dad taught me that, and my dad did not play. My dad was one of those ones. Hey, when you get out of school, you come straight home and you do your homework.
Yep.
Bottom line, I don't give a damn. You do your homework, and then you have the rest of the day to do whatever the hell you want to do. So that was a habit. It was ingrained in me. And as long as I did that, I made straight A's. The minute I tried to do my own thing, grades plummeted. Grades just plummeted because I was not prepared for the examination. The way school is set up, you don't have to be a genius. If you have great memory, you can set up things in your head. You have some discipline. And I got my discipline from my dad. So it was like, hey, he did not play. He didn't give a damn. I don't care what's going on. Earthquake. It could be hailing. You need to get your homework done when you get home.
Shout out to your mean ass father, huh?
So it wasn't mean. It was
awesome.
Like my dad, my business.
Discipline.
In other words, most kids would say, "My daddy mean."
No, my dad. When it came to that, when it came down to him saying what he meant, he didn't play. And my thing at the end of the day, I'm a reasonable kid as I am a person. I'm like, well, damn, he's just saying do your homework, and then I can do whatever the hell I want the rest of the day. So I was like, okay, I can do that. Yeah, and so I did it, and it was great. It was great.
And that's why though, because if you didn't invest your energy and your time into the homework, then your grades would slip. Mine didn't. And that's why I never learned that I actually had to do the homework. But the problem is that when I did start failing things, I legitimately didn't understand. But I didn't honestly also, I legitimately didn't understand how to do better.
You never built the habits in, and that's what Vonda's saying. Vonda's father he didn't care, okay, how smart you were. He's trying to build a habit.
He built a habit. The habits would help. Because I was a smart kid too, because I'm telling you, when I stopped doing the homework, it didn't matter how smart I was, I could not keep up. I couldn't keep up. And I wasn't a kid that cut class. I went to class, but it was the homework. It was the discipline of doing that and actually doing those lessons. Because that's what your test was going to be based on. If you don't do the damn homework, how are you going to know what you're going to do?
I was a kid that did the homework on the bus though.
See, I didn't learn how to do that until college.
That was too much chaos. I couldn't do the homework on the bus because they throwing spitballs, everybody hollering. I couldn't do that. I would envy the kids that could do their homework on the bus, because then when they got home, they didn't have to do anything.
I would do my assignments on the bus on the way to school. So like you got to write like an essay. I would write it on the bus on the way to school.
That was easy.
I couldn't do it. I was not the one. I had to do it at home. It was absolutely impossible for me to do it on the bus or in the lunchroom. I have to do it at home. I need my peace and quiet.
Yeah. So that's good discipline. Yeah.
But I guess my whole point was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Char.
I was going to say it's ABMT, but it served you well, did it not, Vonda?
It absolutely did. I understand. I knew where my downfalls were. I knew where my downfalls were when it happened.
Did your dad sit with you? Like, if you didn't understand things or whatever, did your dad like sit down? Were you doing like homework at the, say dinner table, and he would sit down or help you or whatever?
My mom and dad were not the parents that sat down with me and do the work. What I had to do is I had to pay attention in class and get that lesson. I had to get that lesson. And when I got home, I had to be able to do that homework, because I did not have the type of parents that could sit down. I had parents that worked that were gone all day. I was a latchkey kid. Okay, so there were, and so the fact that there was no one home, I still knew that I had to come home and do my homework. And even though it wasn't like my dad made me show him, I knew if I didn't do it, it was going to show him my test. And if I come home with bad tests, he's going to know I'm not doing my homework, and that was going to make the whole domino effect happen.
The biggest thing is, especially in school and college, and I had to learn that, is discipline.
It
Biggest thing.
absolutely is. That's
Discipline.
number one. Discipline is number one, even in
Mhm.
college.
Yeah.
Discipline is even more important in college.
Yeah.
If you don't do it,
Yeah.
just go
You,
home. Just
you
go home
if,
and sleep all
if you
day.
don't if you don't put in the hours, you don't make the time.
No,
Guess
you
what's
got to
it's
put
going to
the
show.
time in. That's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. No, you have to do that. Absolutely. Right. I think for me, right, because when I finally failed something, my parents just assumed it was I didn't bother. Right. So even though I told them, like, no, I don't understand science suddenly, like this, I don't know. Right. No one thought that it might be important to sit down with me. Right. And invest some time into helping me figure it out. Because I honestly thought I was just slacking because I literally, they knew I'd gotten through all of school up until like 8th grade by doing nothing. Like I literally putting in zero effort, showing up for tests and getting 95s. Like it was just, they knew that I had done that. And so like, I guess my whole thing is, right. And the reason why I brought this up to begin with is to say to parents, like, I get it. My parents were, I was a latchkey kid too. I understand, you know, you might not have a lot of time, but like sometimes that's what kids need. They need like 10 minutes of your undivided attention for you to explain this one thing to them. And once they get that, everything else will click. They won't feel like idiots anymore. They'll apply themselves to the rest of the homework because they feel like it's worthwhile. Or once they show you the finished homework, you actually check it, help them with, say, you know what, and then celebrate them for having accomplished something. And then, you know, it gets them into a habit.
You come from that generation to where, you know, it was like it was normal, or it was starting to be normalized to get that like specialized attention from your parents.
Oh, I didn't get it. That's what I'm saying. No.
I come from the generation where it was like, you know what the hell you are supposed to do. And my thing was, I didn't like consequences.
But not everyone does, right? Not everyone does. Like the kids who can't read they're not trying to not be able to read, right? They just, they can't.
But you know, and there are other extenuating circumstances too. Absolutely. I mean, I was one of those kids. I love school, so you know, it wasn't a stretch for me.
Oh, we know.
And there are some kids that don't like school. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I don't want to be here, so I'm gonna, you know, slack off. And I'm like, well, I love school, and I wanted to go because it was like better than being at home. There's nothing to do at home, you know.
Most kids who don't like school though don't understand. They're confused. They feel stupid. They feel far behind. They think everyone's smarter than them, and whatever, right? And that's actually literally my point. Right, is that not every kid's going to be able to just kind of do it themselves, or, you know, if only they just applied themselves. No, some kids would totally apply themselves, except they literally are lost right now. And I think that when we're seeing these statistics of kids, a whole damn city is failing, and this is going on in so many of our communities, right? Like I understand that, you know, people don't have that necessarily that kind of time. You might have a lot of kids, you have to devote that, but listen, like, our kids need it. Our kids need it. And especially if they're not in schools, especially if we see our teachers aren't devoted to them, we have to put that work in. Who's going to do it? If not for you, what they're going to have to, as adults, now go to adult learning education centers to be able to learn how to do basic math and basic reading, when, you know, you could have taken that time out when they were younger and they could have learned that, and then they would have been able to learn everything else after that. They wouldn't have been sitting there like, I can't learn this because I can't read, you know? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, invest more energy.
BMT, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
hello.
Hey, what's going on?
We're normally on end the show around this time, but I want you to go ahead and say what you wanted to say.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah. So I gave I did a whole synopsis of this story. So make sure you're in your seat when you listen to it, Char, and anybody else. What you're watching right now out of Baltimore is you're actually watching the beginning of classism. You're watching classism. Because now, from 2019, it was 24%. Now it's 41%. It doubled, and now it's going to actually double up more. At this point, and it was 706 of them. I remember the number. 706 of them dropped out of school, and only 21% actually made of a B. And if you take that 21%, and take 1/3 of it, that's 7%. That 7% is probably going to actually go further, most likely into college, or they'll probably leave out of the Black community altogether. They just won't come back. And you got to understand, this is how it's going to start going now. Whereas you're looking at your permanent underclass, or your permanent subservient class. And people are gonna say, "Well, that's hard to say." No, because we saw the story came up before when they had that one boy who just got passed along. Remember that one story about the one boy who got passed along? But we didn't understand how in depth it was when it's been over 4 years in the making, actually longer than that. So you're looking at actually a whole generation of kids that are cannot realistically compete. They can't compete or do anything. And the thing about it is it's going to be, well, there's going to be kind of blame. Is it the teachers, is it the school system, is it the home? At some point you got to understand as a child, as a student, you got to make this decision for yourself. Like, do I really want to buckle down and learn this? And I know people gonna say, well, it's the parent, but you got to understand, like, I'm being realistic. Like, sometimes you got to make that decision for yourself. Like, I don't want to be stuck in the city. I told that to myself at a young age. I don't want to be stuck in this city. I got to get out. And some people are fine with that. Like, they accept that this is as far as I can go. And the program that they have coming out they're going to have voc rehab programs. And I'm not sure if any of y'all know what voc rehab is. That's pretty much, I teach you how to do a job. You learn how to do the job, and that's it. Most Baltimore adults, especially in a certain type of economic background, they work 2 jobs. They work like 2 jobs just to stay afloat. So you're pretty much looking. That's what I'm saying. You're looking at they're pretty much getting ready for, this is the next class. These children that are these I'm not gonna call them children. These young adults that will be going into the workforce, mind you, they were just passing them along. They were just passing them along. So they pretty much were filling in the workforce. Like, in other words, be great when you got a job. Be great when you got a. You just think about it, Shar. They knew that they know doggone well these kids, these young adults, cannot compete any higher than flipping a burger or probably doing the rudimentary job of just bare minimum. And we seen this with some of the parents when we had the one adult parent that came on and said, "My child, he didn't get any smarter." Now, when you listen to her talk and watch how she said how she had extra children and extra stuff, I'm like, now it all makes sense, because you came from the same background area that these kids came from. And you're watching it as the leadership, they understand that, hey, it's the crab in the barrel mentality. I don't want nobody to get out, because that would mean that's why the other school districts didn't turn in their test scores or didn't show their reports of their school, because they all understand. And listen, nobody wants to be known as, I have the school full of dummies. Sorry to say, but it is what it is. And now we're at this. Now we're going to start seeing the divide of those who will be able to make it and those who won't. And this is very sad, because it's in some countries, some people are born just to work. They're not born to move out of that class system of achieving. Now there's been a few special, shout out to Ruby. She told me how there was a rich man that was trying to teach the kids how to get out of that class. But America, it's kind of going in the reverse, where they need people in that class system. Since COVID, they understand that, one, the poverty is growing exponentially. The middle class is shrunk, and the rich class is even getting smaller, or it's harder to get into. But the class where you need people to work if you notice that the jobs at McDonald's are down to the bare minimum, where all they have is pictures on it. It's like a movie called Idiocracy, where they don't want them to think, just do what you're told to do. So that's
wow, that is so crazy. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you are blowing my mind with that. With just the straight up classism it's like they don't care. We need these people to be at this level. We need them to be at this mediocre level.
Well, you saw it right there. You saw it right there, Vonda, when they said we will create programs to fit them into. That's called voc rehab. If none of y'all ever did voc rehab, look it up. It's where they teach you the bare essential job, so that way you can get by, at least have a job. Or they could put you in a program or test you to say, hey, this person, they're not smart. I believe they had the one boy, all he did was make F's and D's. But she said, my child's not dumb. He just learns differently. Well, So what they plan to do with that one boy was say, well, what we'll do is just make you repeat back to the 9th grade. But I'm like, holy crap. That boy, they're just regurgitating him right back in the system. For every child that they regurgitate back into the system, do you not know they get paid money for every head that goes through the system? So no more, they're nothing more than figure numbers. And they get program money for this. Again, like y'all said, ladies and gentlemen, we are watching classism actually shape in America right before your eyes. Where this class of people, now I'm not just going to say black people, just you're literally watching a certain class actually being born and bred. Because you understand, the lesser class, the people who can't think, all they do is work and breed, nothing else. Work and breed and die. So that's what you're going to see is them going to make children. 706 of them dropped out already. There's 41% that you just saw. They cannot mentally compete. So any other children that's the 21% will either possibly go into the workforce or the manager position. Shar, Ruby, and Vonda, you will have to deal with and train them on how to manage the 41 and 706 below. And then from there, those kids will not be able to really fight back. That's why whenever it comes to common sense, what do they say? Well, just watch YouTube. Well, just look at social media. And you see the information that's put out, and you're like, what happened to common sense thinking? What happened to critical thinking?
It just does not exist.
It does not exist.
It just does not exist.
Because
everything is programming.
Right. So they literally purposely dumb down the population of children, which we know that these children will literally not push their children to what? Learn, to have expectations, to ever want to rise above the quota. We got to think. This is two generations that now think like this. So if this is from 2019, 2020 to 2021, oh my God, that's almost 4 years. There is no way possible you can rebound. It's not like we can make these people disappear. No. There is no way possible you can erase these people. And as BGS said, this is not just Baltimore. This is up and down. I'm not gonna lie on my state of South Carolina, but this is up and down on the East Coast. So you kind of got to be for real. This is classism at its best.
You know what? They're planning for what, about 30-40% of those heads to mostly be in the prison population anyway, right? School to prison pipeline. Because at the end of the day, right, they keep building new prisons. They keep needing to put warm bodies in those prisons, right? So this is, again, you see the tactic, right? They're just pulling over any black person. They're just stopping any black person and hoping they can find something on you. They can get you to the court. They get you to the right judge. Guess what? That judge is going to put you in prison for 7 years for having a razor in your pocket, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, they're proving to you, no, we don't want to invest anything into your kids because in essence, your kids are just warm bodies for our uses, right?
Yeah,
for cheap, unskilled labor.
We've decided what we're going to use them for.
Yeah.
Right. I know somebody, I get you saying, I don't believe these kids are dumb, but I'm kind of let you know, when I say dumb, they purposely make the populace ignorant. Dumb also means ignorant. And so when you purposely dumb down the population to a curvature where they cannot literally like revert back or literally start thinking for themselves, but you gotta understand, when you're going through high school and you're going through college, you start somewhat planning your life. These kids literally just stopped. Like something it's like being in a twilight zone where they just literally just stopped. So literally, it doesn't matter how many programs you make, doesn't matter about Upward Bound, doesn't matter about how many things they throw at these kids, you literally dumb them down to where now, that's why they said, just pass them on. Just pass them on. Now, back in the day, they used to have it where if a man grew up, an adult grew up to 21 years old, what did they do? They just kicked him out of school and sent him to what? GED or night school. That was it. That was the only thing that they could do for them. But you're literally talking about teenagers that literally all they chose to do was just say, pass them on. That means bump the SADs, bump PAC tests, bump any type of standardized test. I mean, I don't even think there is a standardized test anymore. They literally just say, just pass them on. Who gives a damn? So that means wherever they may land in society, like Ruby just said, they're just a body. So they know they're only good enough just to work, not to think. So that means anybody who has the higher power or authority, there's no pushback. There's really no pushback anymore.
Well, that and the fact that the major corporations run the galaxy.
Correct.
You can't get a bunch of people to agree to work being hired only as part-time employees while still working 80-hour work weeks and can barely still afford their like Roach Motel apartment with and to feed their kids and put clothes on their kids' backs, right? You can't afford to do that with people who have an education, who feel that they have other options, who feel like they deserve better. You can't do things like that. And the corporations need warm bodies who are cheap, unskilled labor, in essence, who are, you know, and there to just man a cash register, whatever. And so they have a vested interest as well in making sure that a minimum of the population, as minimum as possible, actually want anything beyond just making sure they don't starve to death, just making sure they don't freeze to death in the winter. And that's it, right? So they have a vested interest in that. And then, you know, again, they have a vested interest in filling the prisons. They don't care if anyone's guilty or innocent, right? Because again, remember, America's Constitution is way more concerned with finality than it is with innocence and guilt. Period. That's why they never say you're innocent, even when they know you're innocent. They just say you're not guilty, right? Or they vacate your charges, right? But what they don't do is say you're innocent. So they don't care, right? And so once they look at a particular population, the population we know are Black people, right? They've decided, well, since you're the permanent underclass, right? Well, okay, we got to let some of you succeed. So it looks like, right? It looks like we're not really doing what we're doing, right? Exactly. But the majority of the population, we have plans for y'all.
Yeah, and the rest of y'all just lazy that you didn't make it. That's why.
Yeah, they still make their profit off of us, even in 2021.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, BMT, for that. I put your I put your video in the chat room so people can check it out.
Thank you.
And
it's pretty harsh now for some people. I'm just letting y'all know.
Yeah, I'm
very unfiltered on what I just say. I am being very respectful because I love Char and I love Ruby and I love Vonda, but that's why I'm just being very cultured for right now. I'm very harsh on my side.
We'll check it out.
Appreciate that.
And I want to thank you, Don TZ. I just got the support for the channel. And you have made Sheed sing. So here you go.
Okay.
I sang along with him that time. Y'all couldn't hear me.
There you go.
Thank your lucky stars. It wasn't great.
Yeah, you don't want to hear me sing either. That's not good. Not a good thing.
And I always mention on what do I say? I lost my train of thought. It was Keep the Beat. I can't think of what it was, but it was something about Keep the Beat. But whatever it is, that's
fine. Whatever.
Hey, Char, did you know the late Biz Markie just died tonight?
Yes, I did see that in my feed.
Oh, rest in peace.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, on the radio show a couple of weeks ago, I talked about it. You know, played Just a Friend. Said, you know, they had actually announced it a couple weeks ago that he died, and it's like, no, that was a little premature. He didn't actually die, but he's basically dying. So at that point, we know he's going to die. We're just not sure when. At this point, so I was kind of keeping an eye out for it because I knew it was coming. Unfortunately,
I didn't know.
Yeah, she played a song. So everyone, check us out tomorrow for article reaction. You know, we had those Kens and Karens.
Oh God, y'all know Victoria's Secret Karen. I'm gonna give y'all a tea now. Y'all know Victoria's Secret Karen. I have so much tea. I have the full footage. Okay, and I got tea on the woman herself. It is going to be a Karen Bonanza extravaganza, y'all.
Yeah, because she took the cake. She, you know, if there's awards given for, you know, the Karens of 2021, one, or it's this heifer. She was extra.
Girl, it gets worse. Trust
Okay.
me, it gets worse. When I finish with this carrot, you can be like, I can't even believe this is real. I can't even believe that. That's how I keep feeling. I keep looking at it. I can't even believe this is real. It's next level. It's next level.
Yeah, so you guys be ready for that tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you guys be safe. And until then, peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Peace out, family.
Hey, folks, it's your nighttime, it's your right time DJ Music. Make sure you join Char Willie each and every Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, for Article Reaction, right here on your local YouTube channel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to Article Reaction.